Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, Nomaniacs. Welcome to another edition of Nomad at Night, where we are doing our job to keep you floating through this offseason and making it very, very simple for you, man. We got some breakdowns we want to do for you guys. And please stop for a second and make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share the content on all three channels. All three at the Kedz of Canuck, Sports Chicago style, and both over here at the Nomad Network as well. But we appreciate you being here. Sorry, we're running a little bit late, but it's the off season, man. So we got some stuff to talk about. I think it's going to be very interesting tonight, man. Not only the breakdowns, but we're talking about some of the free agent breakdowns. That just to be specific. But some of the questions I got for tonight, I think it's going to be real interesting. It's about like three or four. But it's going to take some time to sort through them. But one of them is going to definitely make you put your thinking cap on for sure, man. But I'm kind of liking the hot topics thing. So I think we're going to keep running with that a little bit, man. Make it a segment. But without further ado, let me pass this rock on over to Canada. He's got all this Canadian paraphernalia on, man. I just want to see what's going on with that.
I'm just rocking my Blue Jays, man. I got hooked up with some Blue Jays gear.
Sick Blue Jays Arthur too, by the way.
Big ups, Joseph. Big ups, man. Thanks for sticking with us. Being a member, shout out to Naj and Cloud Chasers while you're at it, and your boy Lara. What it do? Hey man, good looking out to all y'all for jumping in early, and good shout outs to all the folks who will be with us a little bit later on. Like Labrici Bryant. Yeah, shout outs to you too. Anyways, nothing too major for me. Went out with the kids today on some Father's Day business. We had a nice little eat 'em up, like nice little meal, and that's it.
Happy Father's Day, everybody. I forgot all about it.
I was just about to say the same thing. Big ups to all the daddies out there, including the ones on this here show.
I'm the pappy.
There you go. Shout out to you, sir, as well. But yeah, man, just pretty cool weekend. Got to hang out with some of the homies yesterday. We do like a little birthday thing usually. Each one of us kind of finds a little thing to do. But usually we wind up going out for a bite to eat, and then
you ate steak.
Huh?
You ate steak?
No.
Burger?
No. Fish?
No.
What?
All vegetables?
Is there anything else to eat?
Yeah, this chick. They're all black people. God damn it! What's wrong with y'all?
So you had some Juneteenth food?
I had some chicken wings and just a little bit of some salad. That's
please be free. You always be free.
But
what I'm not hearing is that your children failed.
Yeah, they did. But that's okay. That's all right. They did make offers. And
offers for a gas grill.
But I got one, and it's dope. So they can't buy that again.
I thought you wanted one.
No, they got me one a couple years ago.
Hey man, let me tip you out to something, man. I'm gonna tip you to something. Don't ask for another grill. Ask for an outdoor kitchen.
An outdoor kitchen. You clearly have not met my children. In any event,
he was barely getting the grill.
You get them on resale now, pretty cheap, bro.
Resale?
Yeah.
That resale still ain't free.
That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I got my grill. I'm happy with the grill. He's out there doing his thing.
Right.
But real talk, we went and looked at a couple of things here today. They're willing and able to get me something, but I kind of slowed the roll on this because Daddy need a new pair of shoes, but Daddy ain't bullshitting with no shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting some like $300 shoes, so fuck it. And if they ain't trying to buy me no $300 shoes, I'll get them my damn self.
So they can't get Pops no Jordans?
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like they actually turn around and they're like, look, we'll chip in, we'll splitty between the two of them and like a couple of bucks for me. But like at the end of the day, we went to the mall to go and do all that. And then, big up Saran, happy Father's Day, and thanks for agreeing up on the membership, man.
$300 shoes at this day in this day and age.
What?
$300 shoes better have some kind of hooker or something.
There's no hookers involved.
One better pop out of one of them shoes.
At least none that I'm going to admit to on the internet.
Are you talking about? Remember the Reebok pumps? Is like one of those got to be a booby.
Well, they're pumping something else. I got some kicks in line, which I will get. The reality was it's $300 in the store. But if I jump online, and that's what we went out there and I was like, oh, yeah, I can get it for like a bill 50. You know what I mean? Like, online, I can find them for a bill 50. I'm going to order them later on. And that's I'm straight. Yeah, Cloud Chasers, happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day.
For real. Well, yeah. That'll make a man happy.
Yeah, so that was my day. But the day before, me and a bunch of the homies, we went out for like some, Father's Day, / birthday deal, and we wind up playing like a mini putt, and we do it all the time. And I've been losing money. Me and these homies, we put money on the line, man. I've been losing money systematically for like 2 years. I you know what I mean, just straight up and down. Got to be out about like probably $260 at this point. But yesterday, the homie Kedz with the glasses, sometimes Kedz wears glasses, y'all. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the homie Kedz with the glasses crushed it yesterday. We came in second in the first little. So the spot we go to has like a front nine and a back nine. $15. You quit your job for fishing. Damn straight. You go rock that out on the water, Ron. But so I did the front nine. One of the homies is real good, so we're like, yo, Mike gonna win. You give Mike some love. Mike's gonna win, but Mike had to leave after like halfway through. So I came in second on the front nine. On the back nine, the homie Kedz pulled through, took home the paper. You know what I'm saying? Took home a good like $160 on the day.
Shit, that's a new pair of Birkenstocks.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to talk about here. So I'm straight, man. I had a great weekend. I came this close to winning another $150 on World Cup. Man, Curacao let me down. They had like a 16 to 21 point, like 16 to 21 points on the line. So I bet a $5 bet on Germany and Curacao to win yesterday. Germany wins. So I'm like, I done knew Germany was going to win. There's no two ways about that. But Curacao versus Ecuador. Curacao is clearly the underdog. 21-point underdog.
You are degenerate.
Huh?
You are a degenerate, aren't you?
But brother, $5? You're calling me a degenerate for a $5 bet? It's a $5 bet. Only this type of ROI, Doc. This type of ROI doesn't show itself all the time. You know what I mean? $5. I'm like, man, even if they lose, this is $5 well spent. And unfortunately,
take this $5 and give me my shit.
You know what I'm saying? It's not so much that they lost. They actually tied yesterday, which is still a loss for me. But I'm like, damn, like I'm so close to winning $150 on a $5 bet. Like I had to do it. So I threw the $5 down. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. But I was this close to being up like almost $400 on the weekend.
I'm afraid of going down that road, man.
Say what?
I'm afraid of going down that road.
What road?
Gambling.
Yeah, I was the little slot machines and stuff. They get me. They get me. You know, I get money out of them almost every time, but I enjoy it
after about 8-9 hours.
Yeah, I enjoyed it way too much, man. It's just like anything, man. You know, like drugs and shit like that, man.
It can become addictive, especially if you have an addictive personality. It's just changing the substance.
If you really like something, you just want more of it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Look, with gambling, you have
that's
to
why
have
I'm a male gigolo.
You have to. And everywhere he goes, people know the song he's singing. So look, you just have to have a viable system. That's what you need. And I'm just saying, like, everything, all these things are addictive. All of them. In moderation, it's cool. You can go gamble in moderation and make your money and get the hell out. And that's what I mean by having a system. So with the slots is a problem. All the shiny lights, you know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a problem. You're in there, they're pumping you full of oxygen. You're awake. If you're in there 24 hours, you're wide awake for 24 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Smoking cigarettes, drinking drinks.
You know, you sound like, man. I watched this movie. I'm pretty sure. I almost guarantee you saw it, kids. It was this guy that's running around New York City, just hitting all the little spots where they're gambling and playing cards and shit like that. And he's hitting every spot all night long. I can't think of the name of the movie, but it's a real good movie. Just all around New York City, all through that night into the morning hours, sometimes days, and they're just breaking cats, man. And they got a little system going on. Rounders,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, good catch, Public, because I know what the hell he was talking about.
Right, that's how you sound, like one of them cats.
No, well, I'm like, here, like, work with me here, right? So very simple system. When you're going into when you're playing slots, all right, if you're playing slots, you put your $20 in, get your winnings, take the receipt out and put it in your pocket. Put another $20 in. If you're working with $100, if that's your budget, you put your $100 in, get your winnings, take your paper route, put it in your pocket, and go to the next hundo. And the reason why I'm saying this is that if you keep putting that same paper back in there, you're going to play the whole damn thing out.
Give it back.
That should be only old people get gotten like that, man. Most people.
No, man. I know young boys. I mean, even this young generation now, because it's on your phone and shit. These cats are just playing it out and losing money. Like my nephew, like not my nephew's, my son's good friend. He like this boy, he met this girl and he said, "Hey baby, like, you know what? Let me $1,500. Let me just throw that down." And peace. And I don't think he's seen this girl since. But you know what I'm saying? Like they're getting got on this thing.
Probably
so high.
But a lot of them, it's not. While we may see them getting got because they put their whole check in the thing or their Social Security check, but it's somewhat of an addiction. It's somewhat socialization. It's somewhat entertainment. Yeah. You know, for the older crowd, because they ain't got shit else to do. Oh. So they just sit there and be hitting them damn buttons. And it's not about winning, because they'll hit a jackpot, put all that shit right back in.
Right back in there.
Brother, and this is what I'm saying. You need to pull it out. That's why I'm, that's what she said. But that's just the reality. You got to pull that money out. And it took me forever to figure this out until because traditionally I wasn't really like a slots guy. I was just table games. I'll go in there and play blackjack and lose like an idiot. So at some point I had to stop, and I was like, you know what? I ain't playing no more blackjack. I've never left the casino with $1 in my pocket playing blackjack. Gotta stop playing blackjack. So I completely stopped playing that. And like I said, I started playing some slots with the wife and my brother-in-law, and they're coming out with money. I'm like, how is it that y'all coming out with money and I'm coming out with nothing on the slots too? And that's because you're stupid.
Well, but it's so mind-numbing though.
That's what they said to me.
These damn buttons over and over and watch these same reels going by. It's like, what am I doing with my life?
Well, this is it. Understand that is mind-numbing, but when you hit, take your money with you, put that in your pocket, and then start again.
You're talking about being rational. See, here's a perfect comment. Cloud Chasers Radio. He says it's the dopamine hit at the tip of your finger.
You're damn straight.
You're not really rational once that kicks in. You're not necessarily rational when that kicks in.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, just one more spin. Oh, let me go ahead and cash this ticket
Public
in. I'm only gonna
speaking,
play
though?
$10 of it, and then it's gone.
Public speaking, that's a dope little thing to say about blackjack from a system perspective. The problem is you gotta have that kind of money, though.
You gotta
You
have that
need,
bank.
you know what I'm saying? You need to come to the table with enough to double your shit. So, like, when it comes to craps, I do something very similar. So, craps is what I play now. If I'm playing a table game, I'm going to play craps because it's the best game in the building. Everybody at the table is loving it.
Yay!
You know what I'm saying? You winning for the
Hey,
table.
blow these for me, baby.
Blow these for me. You know what? You throw the dice. Trust me, the table's always rocking. It's so much fun once you learn the game. But that's what I play, and I have a little part of my system that looks like what you're describing. But on blackjack, I just generally didn't bring that kind of money. I'm just being real. I'm not. I'm coming to the blackjack table, a couple $100. We play a little bit. I lose all my money. I'm going home. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to double up.
In the hood, you know what's funny about the hood, man? Me growing up, I've seen men make $100,000 or so in one night shooting dice and shooting pool in one night.
Papa need a new pair of shoes.
You know what I mean? Like it's a thing. It's a thing. Like that's a lifestyle for some people. They just hustle. You know, hustle dice, hustle pool.
Some nights you win, some nights you get your teeth kicked.
You might get shivved in the
well,
party.
What's funny, you know what else is funny about it? Is the other hustlers, they believe in him. Like if just say a guy came in with a couple $100,000, lost it in a few shots of the dice. It's people that believe that this cat enough in him that will front him another $200,000 right there on the spot. I've seen that shit happen in my life growing up.
Got you faded.
Brother, I hope he won. So on the other side of that shit,
that's why they gave him the money.
I'm just saying, on the other side of that is definitely some bad news. But this is what I'm saying. In the casino, it's a bit of a different thing. Just before you walk in, have your system, figure it out. Slot system is super easy, and it's what I explained to you. Now I actually walk out the slots with a couple of bucks in my hands. I have a limit. I know what I'm trying to do, and I'm pulling my money out every time I hit. I'm trying to hit. When you hit, you put it in your pocket, and you start again.
Mm-hmm.
Might even leave that machine. Best case, you leave the machine, you hit, you go find another machine, or you stock some old lady who's been out on the machine for hours.
Right. And they hit shit.
Now you pump in your money and you hit, put it in your pocket and you get at it. And that's how you slots up, man. Just to make it make sense. My brother-in-law, my wife were doing it, and I couldn't. For the life of me, I'm coming out with $20 left in my jeans on a $500 night, and they're coming in with $100 and leaving with $400 or $500. I'm like, this is crazy. I don't understand how this works.
Tickets in and walk out the door. Don't go back in after you cash them tickets.
Well, that's it. When you cash, you go hit you go. You don't think you're gonna.
Don't put another 20 in. Shit.
No. My boy Ray's even worse, man. And like. When I say he's worse, he just wins. It doesn't matter what's going on; he's gonna win, and it's just it's facts. We walked into one casino a couple months back, both of us $300 a piece. I come in, I go up to $600 relatively quickly. So I'm like, cool, you know what I mean? Pull my money, pull that piece of paper out, put it in my pocket. We're ready to go. And Ray's down to now $20 out of his money, and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna pump $5 bets and see what happens. And in 4 strokes, boom, my homeboy hits it, gets all his money back plus $150. Like, see, I was like, I knew you were gonna win too, man. You know what I mean? We can't.
The thing about winning is you can't be scared to lose money. If you're scared to lose money, that's gonna limit your chances to win.
Scared money.
Well, no. Scared money don't make me. You're damn straight. Scared money don't make money. You got to go in with that limit, do what you got to do, and enjoy yourself. Have a good time. If you lose it, you lose it. You never had it. If you win, like I'm telling you, put your money in your pocket and get the fuck out of it.
All right. I'll tell you what, man. Trips, if you want to talk about how your week's been going, go ahead.
Well, shit. Since Wednesday, I finished a few more pages on Sports Chicago Style, not published yet, but I got like 2 pages to go, and then that'll be finished. So, I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, I've just been like I don't give a shit about soccer, but I have been enjoying the foreigners that come to America and are discovering shit and living their best life, like at Walmart, Costco, and the food portion sizes in the restaurant and using seasonings, and now they understand why Americans are such fat asses. Because it's like, man, y'all eat like this all the time. And it was like ranch dressing is like, yeah, what about it? It's like, we've never had such stuff. And they put it on everything. And so just seeing, these foreigners go around the United States or Chicago, and it's like, as an American, as a Chicagoan, you want to be proud of your shit. It's like, yeah, that's us. Yeah, so yeah, you enjoy that, right? Now, granted, we got our own issues going on, country, city, all that stuff. But that civic pride, it's like, yeah, that's our shit. Yeah, y'all better enjoy that. Right on. Yeah, USA. And it's like, there's that dichotomy of, yeah, there's bad stuff, but if we can accentuate the good stuff and promote the good stuff, more and more, hopefully that would take as opposed to the negatives. But we got our negatives too that we get to deal with. So there is no ignoring it, but it's just understanding that, hey, we live in a cool country, kids. And when people come from Europe or Germany or Japan or wherever the fuck they're from, they come over here and it's like, wow, this is cool. Our varieties, our selections, I mentioned the serving sizes and just, oh yeah, I go there all the time. What about it? And it's like, this is their first time experiencing it. And it's like,
as much of a difference, as it was for me to go to Europe, having Europeans over in the US, it's going to be night and day stark different. Just like one of the smallest differences, just for you guys to understand, is in the size of your vehicles. Like straight up and down out there, you got these tiny little Peugeot and Citroën vehicle, like these tiny little like, think like Suzuki Sprint, like a tiny little whip.
Yugos,
that's everywhere rampant. They don't have like your SUVs, and like they have them sometimes, but few and far between out on the streets. More people ride bicycles than have SUVs.
You know why? I can tell you why right now. Hip hop culture dominates America.
Oh, wait a second, man. Yo, man, sorry to hear this, Scrolls. So Scrolls is saying, what's up, fellas? Tough week, lost his nephew last Sunday. Wife is taking him to go see Dave Chappelle tonight, trying to get his mind off it. I'll try to get back with you guys Wednesday. Man, we missed you those last couple of days.
Too, man. I was like, what Scrolls at?
Yeah, I said the same thing, man. We missed you the other day, Scrolls, man. And shout out to you, your family, your nephew, your sister, your brother, whoever, whatever side that's on. Really sorry to hear that. I had a similar scare about a year ago with my nephew. He pulled through, but he's hurting even up to now. He's in major recovery still, just trying to work his way back. But I'm really sorry to hear that, bro.
Not to totally change the subject, but something I also did get accomplished finally was I completed my living will and power of attorney and all my death stuff.
Oh damn.
And I had the paperwork before, but it was like actual pen and paper, and it's like I never got to it, but I did it online and just downloaded the PDFs. I'm just gonna email them to the appropriate people, just with the subject, hey, in case I'm sick or dead, open this. And now they have my final wishes. So it's kind of depressing to think about your own demise, but knowing that you can alleviate some of the stress on your surviving family at that time and have them not get preyed on by funeral directors, because that's their job. When you are grieving, they're going to be like, oh, you need this, oh, you need that, oh, you need this, and they're marking all that shit up. My daddy was a funeral director, so I know.
You're well aware. I almost became one. I don't know if I ever told you guys that. I almost became one. I was in between jobs and I interviewed, and brother, Your dad must have been hilarious. Was he super funny?
I guess he had a sense of humor, yeah.
But you have to have one of the darkest, most morbid.
What kind of morbid? You mean
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like the guy I interviewed with, he's cracking jokes the whole time, and I'm like, damn, bro, like these jokes are rough. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even me. I kind of lean.
Well, sometimes that's a coping mechanism as well, though.
But no, it is, and he said it to me. I was like, I had to say to the guy, I was like, bro, you're funny, but like your level of funny is even darker than me. And I thought I had a dark sense of humor, bro. And he was like, yeah, you gotta have. He's like, that's why I think you might work. He's like, you gotta have a real dark sense of humor to deal with all of this. And as we were talking, I was like, yeah, but like, I'm just not that dark.
You have to have a different makeup, in my opinion, to do that.
You do.
Yeah, but just in general, I'm not gonna disparage all funeral directors, undertakers, but generally, the industry will fuck you every chance they get. You want that that special vase or the special obituary or this is always gonna cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
So if you can, plan your own shit out, write your own obituaries, plan out what you want, for your funeral. It doesn't mean you're gonna get it, but at least they have an idea, if you pay for it yourself, or how do you want to be interned, cremated, or whatever. It's depressing to think about. And there may be some tears involved when it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna be gone. But it's like, well, everybody gotta go. So at least trying to plan.
Okay, Uncle Fester, I'm glad you got that together. Well, on a lighter note, this week, man, I'm taking a break. Today is a break because if you're in the Chicago area, it's been raining like a big dog, like constantly all afternoon. And I went 3 days hardcore over there at that house getting up them stumps, and I got a load of them. Man, dude, you talking about swinging this maul, the axe and the sledgehammer combo thing we was talking about. Thing is, you only getting so many swings out of your body in that thing before you got to go sit your ass down for somewhere for a while, because it's backbreaking. To be honest with you, man.
It's labor,
real work. You know what I mean? But I went over there hardcore, with my foot on the gas for the past 3 days in a row, man. I got so much done, man. I'm pretty much done with one side of it, and it's a small little sliver over there. I just say I feel like I'm about 2/3 of the way done with it, or at least somewhere around
2/3.
Somewhere around half, 2/3.
About 6 weeks ago, I would have thrown money at this motherfucking problem. I'm just saying. Long time.
Yeah, that's what
I would have kicked my feet up with some beer and some maybe a plate of veggies and dip. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to be a little bit bringing politically correct. I'll have some veggies and dip, but you know what it is.
Watching sweat and shit.
You know what it is. I'm watching, man. I might have some World Cup on the side, like a little tablet. But I'm watching somebody else do all that. Damn straight.
All the people who kind of shy away from doing physical things, man, you're really cheating yourself. You're really cheating yourself and your body. You know what I mean? You need a certain amount of physical activity to keep a good blood flow. Just to be honest with you. If you don't, you gotta have some congestive problems at some point.
But I do, and I'm almost willing to trade.
Yeah, for me. It's just I take a little pride in my body, and I use it, to my advantage. Sweat equity is equity. You know what I mean? So it works for my body big time, and especially when you swinging something as heavy as that, I'm activating muscles. I'm like, damn, hold on. I'm feeling that shit, man. I'm feeling that shit in a major way, all the way across my back, down my shoulders, waistline, everything. It's all, everything works, man. But anyway, that was the week for me for the most part. Today I've been able to kind of relax a little bit and kind of kick back, but it's been a great week. I put some thought in the night show, man, and I do want us to just, number one, before we get into these breakdowns, we'll do those first. Most of these guys, I know most of these guys, you know. So we just talk about the football player and the dynamics of the football player. Once we do that, please, we can get into, the financial aspect of it and discuss that. But I prefer to talk about the football first, then we get into the money. Y'all don't mind?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's set it up. First one, I've been seeing him out there a little bit. Let's talk about this guy. This is Kenny Moore. We all know who Kenny Moore is at this point now, don't we? Because Flus was at Indianapolis, and we was all studying his roster, the roster over there, and what guy could come over here with Flus and all that, this kind of stuff. So are we familiar with Kenny Moore?
Yeah,
slot corner.
He's a super solid slot. And right. Why is he on the menu in your opinion?
Because he's available.
Well, there's a lot of people available in the NFL. But why for the Chicago Bears? Why would the Chicago Bears really be looking at a Kenny Moore? Are we talking very specifically about Kyler Gordon's situation?
We're talking specifically about whether or not the Kyler Gordon situation is what they need it to be. If they think they can count on Kyler Gordon. Because I'll tell you this, if they cannot count on Kyler Gordon at some point, I like the backup we have. What's his name? Cam something?
Cam Lewis.
I like him, but I like him. I think he's better as a support player. I don't see him as a 16, 17, 18 and on game starter. I think he'd get exposed at some point. And so why we talk about Kenny Moore is probably a little bit of that. Now, Kenny Moore, I'm going to break it down and be honest with you. Kenny Moore is basically flourished in a zone cover concept. But I do think his skill set says to me, because I've seen him in enough one-on-one coverage, that he can play man-to-man. I think he can play in any defense. In my opinion, probably for about 5 years straight, I would say Kenny Moore was the best slot corner in the NFL, bar none. Bar none. And I still think he's in the top three. And so, his awareness, his field awareness is next level. But his quickness and suddenness is another thing altogether, man. And that translates to man-on-man coverage a whole lot. Kenny Moore can get you out of a game with his playmaking ability. Play straight out. I don't care who says what about him. He's a fit here if he wants to be. He's one of those guys that can kind of transgress any kind of scheme or traverse any kind of scheme. Doesn't matter. He's that good of an athlete. And so this was one of the steals that Indianapolis drafted in the past 7 years. And he's out there and available, man. I love it. This is a good player right here. Great player.
Oh, shout out to Levante, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you again for being up.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate that.
AC? What up, King?
What's your thoughts about Kenny Moore, football-wise?
There's no question as to the talent we're discussing here. He is 30 years old, which is really where Trip is going to go here in a minute. But you know what I'm saying. But outside of that, you can, my opinion, you can definitely get a few really solid years out of this player, especially in slot capacity. He's very good as a man coverage guy, and that's very important. Somewhat twitchy, no questions there. But he's not bad at zone either. So I'm not, like I say, I would not have any problems with them looking at this as a potential move. The real question is, hopefully we have what we actually need in the slot this season. Like, I'm really hoping that we do, given the players that are already actually on this team. But
one other thing I might mention, man, just for the record, just to put it out here, one of the things, he's a playmaker now. Let's be clear about that.
He
absolutely makes plays. all the time. He's damn near a pick six machine. He gets the hand on the ball. It's a good chance he's taking it back for 6. But he's got extremely, extremely long arms for a kid 5'9", which adds to that playmaking ability, which adds to the attractiveness of any defensive coordinator that's looking for somebody to fill a role. That particular aspect of what he is, that what he has, brings a lot to the table. At slot corner, you're playing in a lot of space, and you got long arms. You got nice ability to get up off the ground and hop. This dude makes a lot of plays. So if, let's just say, something happened and Kenny Moore ended up here and Kyler Gordon wasn't available, you don't take a step backwards whatsoever. Matter of fact, you kind of enhance a little bit because Kenny Moore is much more experienced.
Yeah, and with that, being a Dirty 30 crew, listened to that actually a few days ago, that album. But you get him for a year. He's 30 years old. How much more juice his legs got in him? So, he'll be a good stopgap if necessary. Other than that, I would rather go with Utes, but sure.
All right, man. That's Kenny Moore. I like to play. I've always loved Kenny Moore, man. I think that that organization really knew how to draft for this coach. And this coach knew what he wanted, man. They drafted very well over there. And Kenny Moore is just one of those guys I've been watching since they got him. So, love the football player. We're going to break down the next guy, though.
All right.
Here's another defender.
Wait, hold on, Nomad. One question before we move on. Shad Sports. Well, I'm sorry, Shad on Sports. Long-armed with sound instincts. Durable enough at 30 to have as insurance, but not playing in a dome takes him off the table.
It doesn't. I don't know about off the table, but it does make a difference, man. I have to agree with you, Shad. Good catch.
For probably about, I can't argue with that. I never was one of those people that felt like, okay, playing in the dome, it's nice, but when you outside, you're just outside, and it's a different surface, But at the same time, sometimes it's not. It's the same surface, but it's just outside, But yeah, man, I think it makes a difference for some people.
I do too.
For sure.
Depends who you are, but again, if he's traditionally been playing in that dome capacity, it could well be a bit of a differentiator for him in Chicago.
Right.
But then also another question, at 5'9", with a lot of these wide receivers, even slot receivers being over 6 feet tall, even with his long arms, does that lack of height, it hasn't hurt him, obviously, since he's been a Pro Bowler? How does he manage that being such a minute guy?
He's got tremendous hops with the long arms.
Yeah.
He can get up.
He can jump, man.
He's a hell of an athlete, man. He's a, be honest with you, man, he's kind of a unicorn. Just because of what Trips just got through breaking down, because more times than not, when you get a guy with this kind of range, he does come up a little short in certain areas like that 50-50 balls on. He always does. But this guy does it. This guy wins a lot more 50-50 balls than he loses with taller receivers.
Well, I am going to also say that 5'9" is like the average height of a slot receiver, though. You know what I mean? Like, you generally don't have super tall guys in the slot. I'm not saying it's impossible and nobody has one. But you're looking at, for the most part, 5'9". It's sort of what it is.
Yeah, I remember watching his workout when he was getting ready to come into the league. I was just like, this dude right here, he's a unicorn for a slot corner, man. He's just different, man. You see Kenny Moore move, just away from football, and you watch him work out, and you just know this dude can pretty much do anything he wants out there. Almost every time he's on the field, he's probably the best athlete on the field. That's why he wins, and that 5'9" doesn't inhibit him in whatsoever. But he's a stud athlete. That's why.
Levante's with Trip on this one. He old.
Yeah, getting up there, man. He's not 22 no more.
Yeah, I'll give Kenny Moore I'll give him another 4 years to be straight up with you on that, man. I think he's got another 4 years in him for sure. Like easily, without seeing much regression.
We're going to talk about another defender in the secondary because I do think we may need some help in depth at this position. I insist on it, but this is Taylor Rapp, 28 years old, 6 foot, 208 pounds. Now, Trips, I'm going to let you know right now, he did have, I think, a knee injury last year that finished this season.
Oh, dang.
And now, the only reason I'm bringing him up, man, number one, let me just tell you his attributes. Number one is I think he's nuts because he has no regard for his physical well-being out there. He throws his body around the way it should be thrown around on the football field. He's kind of a throwback. And why I just on the surface, why I think he's a fit is because it's hard to tell the difference between Buffalo's defense in the past 5 to 7 years and what they've been doing in New Orleans with Dennis Allen. He fits seamlessly. He's got the size, he's got the range, he's a physical animal coming off a knee injury, which is why I think you can get him for pennies on the dollar. He's in a prove-it situation. Cat's got great range, physical at the line of scrimmage, can play either safety. I think if you had to throw him in there at slot just to get you out of a game because you ran out of guys, I would have no problem putting Taylor Rapp on a guy. That's just pushing it a little bit, but I'm just telling you, he's got great multiplicity to his game. He's just physical, he's smart, and he plays with the kind of edge and chip to him. You need a crazy dude out there. That's how he looks on the field all the time, man. Every time I watch the Bills play, Taylor Rapp is going to show up on that tape. Every single time. And I watch a lot of these shit. Taylor Rapp is one of those guys that Sean McDermott, when he was there, he couldn't do without him. This is a guy that's out there post some kind of knee injury, but from what I'm hearing, sounds like he's doing pretty good at this point. I know you guys taking a look at him.
I'm taking a little bit of a look. He's Taylor Rapp's. He's a good safety. The reality is he's not a great safety. Now that doesn't bode poorly for the Bears, who in this case scenario could probably, afford him. So, in my opinion, much less of a dollars and cents conversation to be had here with a Taylor Rapp. My real line of question is, why do you feel we need another safety, bro?
Because I think the lower end of the roster has some. Because I watched tape, kid. That's the short answer. And the lower end of the roster, to me, has a lot to be desired. After Elijah Hicks, I think you need a veteran. The young guys, there's going to be one of those young guys that should make the team, but I think you need a veteran. And we got a couple of them there, but I don't think they're sufficient to really. My instincts tell me I think we're shorthanded there.
So we need another old guy.
That's disappointing to hear.
28, you old guy, damn.
That's disappointing to hear, man. And at least
I've been telling you that for a couple of months.
What?
I think we need a little bit more help at safety.
I know you have been, and I've been scratching my head as to why the entire time. Now, if you feel that way, we had safeties on this team. We let safeties on this team go, and we've drafted safeties and paid for a safety. This could have been solved. Should have been solved. I don't like the fact that we're talking about safeties here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being.
Nobody likes it, but what I'm telling you is outside of the first, second, and third safety on the roster, everything else is a question mark.
Damn.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything else is a question mark.
All I'm saying is that's I don't like that at all. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't like that at all. They could have this position here. They easily could have squared away at relatively normal dollars and cents. and I'd like to hope that it is squared away. Hoping, like I don't even want to talk about this position. I think this position we drafted at this position. You know what I'm saying? So that's where my head is. I hear what you're saying, though. You're saying that guys like
well, but here's the thing. Other than Kobe Bryant, free agent, first round pick Dylan Thieneman, and returning Elijah Hicks, you got Javarius Owens, Anthony Johnson Jr., and Skylar Thomas.
What about Cam Lewis? Isn't Cam Lewis really a safety?
No, he's basically
a nickel.
So they're playing him at nickel. Okay.
Yeah.
They if they have to throw him back there, that's not ideal for him.
So those last three guys I mentioned are unproven, unknown, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Taylor Rapp would obviously come in and, you know, probably be over them just, you know, on entry.
They play
but,
a lot of,
you know, we haven't seen them play, so we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And because we play so much dime, there's a lot of DBs on the field on a lot of down and distance situations. You know, you're going to have three safeties out on the field on the regular. One of those guys goes down, and I think the drop off is what I'm trying to say to you, kids. I think the drop off between Hicks and the next guy, I think, is kind of steep.
I hear you. I just don't like what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's got nothing to do with you. It's got to do with the way that this team is put together. I would think that this would be one of the stronger positions on the field, given what we decided to move away from.
And by the way, too, I have very high hopes for Skylar Thomas, one of the UDFAs we brought on here. I do think, and it's all about, I do think he's going to be able to play. I'm always up in the air about how long somebody needs to round that curve, that learning curve, because I just don't know him like that. You know what I mean? If I was around him, I'd be like, oh, he'll have it. He'll be ready to play by the time we get done with the preseason. He just got to, you know, but I'm not around him, so I can only guess. So for some guys, it's pretty seamless. Some guys, you just got to wait a little longer. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that after the third guy, I think the drop off is pretty deep.
So real talk, we just kind of need to see. Well, like fair enough. We do need to see, like, training camp should knock on wood here. Training camp, we should get a little bit more information as to what these guys can bring to the table, right? At least I hope they bring a little bit more to the table than speculated. So,
but more than anything else, I think Taylor Rapp's tenacity and how he plays, and no matter where he's at, whether they're playing him close to the line of scrimmage, they're playing him out high, either way, his range and his tenacity, his field awareness, instincts all take over. This is a true football player, and he would be an asset to anybody's team.
Yeah, no, and he's relatively young, right? Like he's you can move him. He's a piece you can move around. Sean McDermott does a good job of that. And once more, he's kind of had a weird trajectory. He's been in the NFL for a few years, kind of bounced around a little bit, but found a home in Buffalo, and they haven't really put big money in his pocket. So I'm not sure what the market really holds for this young man. I'm a little bit. It's a little bit ambiguous. It might be a low wallet share, prove it deal. Or maybe
knee injury and he's a free agent.
Good point. The knee injury changes the market.
Worst case scenario for anybody going into free agency is a major injury.
Okay,
happy Father's Day too, bro.
Yeah, man. Back at you, Shad. That changes the market value for sure. That injury. So the real upside is, again, this is a guy that the Bears could potentially bring in at relatively low money.
It's according to somebody in there, was it King, that said he doesn't like no ex-Colts or Packers, so that would cut out the first Moore as well as our new Anthony Johnson Jr.
The next guy we're talking about too, but I don't give a shit what jersey he was wearing. Player is a player to me. I don't give a shit where he comes from.
We'll see who the next guy is.
But here we go.
All right.
Need a little edge help. Mr. Tyquan Lewis is a little bit older now, but he's definitely Tyquan Lewis. Here's what I will tell you about him. He's 31 years old, 6'3", 267 pounds. I'm gonna guess that he's probably more 270, 275 when he's playing. Because you watch him on tape, you really can't tell the difference between him and a defensive tackle. The way he looks on the field. And he's definitely a tweener, which is why he's on the screen right now. Tyquan Lewis is powerful. Tyquan Lewis is sudden. He's a little bit older now, but to me, an older defensive lineman is a better defensive lineman, in my opinion. Once they start getting over 35 years old, then you got a different story. But when they start getting to this age, to me, you got a seasoned guy that can help supplement your edge. Now, I was doing a edit on a short, and we were talking about, I can't remember what play we were talking about. A kid broke down something that I really didn't even, or Tripp said something. I can't remember which one of y'all said it. But somebody said something about, we start really thinking about it. We don't really have, outside of Austin Booker, Montez Sweat, Ayo Odingbo, like who else is there? And I mean, not Ayo, but Dayo Odingbo. Who else do we have? We have number 92, which I'm hoping guys still have hopes for. But outside of that, we don't really have a big rotation at edge. We were supposed to be dependent on Shamar Turner. I don't know if we can. And so why I'm doing deep dives on edges that, don't cost a whole lot, but can be valuable when you don't have a solid rotation. This is the Bears. At this point, I don't think they're going to spend a whole lot of money right now at edge unless it's somewhere around the trade deadline. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, I think they want to see what they have in pads.
Yeah.
And take it from there.
I just want to know what, like, I have no analogy for this.
Well, let's talk about Tyquan. I know you want to break down what they.
You're right. Look, Tyquan Lewis has had a really good career at the Colts. He plays very well as an edge there. I don't have too much to say about this player. He would be technically he'd be a bit of an asset at the edge rusher position. My worry are along the lines of Trips. He's 31, and I don't know if you want to band-aid like part of the problem. And I have to get into Bears as opposed to really the player. I just have to. Part of the problem is the Band-Aid fix. I don't think you want to Band-Aid fix this position. Just fix it. Either at this point, either Austin Booker is your guy, or you have a major problem. Like I have to raise my voice for this. It's one of the other.
D Nice in the building.
D Nice is out there. What it do, my brother?
Smitty Q.
This is what I'm saying. It's either Austin Booker or it is a major problem. So I think we just bite the bullet and wait and see what goes down, because a couple of weeks of training camp should at least show us that. But man, if we're back in Band-Aid fix land again, I'm not confident in this pass rush.
Listen, the Bears can only do what's feasible.
Yep.
That number one. Number two, Tyquan Lewis, man. I think I want to focus on what he can bring to the table. Tyquan Lewis is an extremely powerful edge rusher. Extremely powerful. That can definitely kick inside and play some 3 technique. And on NASCAR downs or on any down, man, I think he's strong enough to do it. He's just got a great bottom on him that kind of translates that way. Also, I think something should be said about guys that are used to having their hands in the dirt. And so when you start talking about these 3-4 guys, these 4-3 guys, one of the things should be pointed out is the amount of times that he's going to have his hands in the dirt and how comfortable he is doing that should be spoken to when we start talking about we should bring this edge in or that edge in. Some of these guys just are more comfortable standing up, and that's not going to be the case. Playing on this team, you got to put your fingers in the dirt. Occasionally, he might ask you to stand up in some kind of set, But you need to be comfortable putting your fingers in the dirt and rushing from that stance. And of course, he's been playing in Indianapolis all these years. He's comfortable putting his fingers in the dirt. That's what they do over there. So you're getting that. Basically, you're getting system knowledge before we even get them. So the transition is seamless. Now, all I got to do is get the verbiage down. I know what he's calling. You know what I mean? So really, I think he's when you start thinking of, if they start thinking about bringing a veteran in, you got to consider that part too. Guys that really know the role and are comfortable with those fingers in the dirt in a 3-point stance. So he's just powerful. He's a tweener. Does that not fit what Dennis Allen looks for?
Yeah, no, it does. He's like the exact size, right? This is a very, very close, just general makeup to a Cam. Blanking out on to Cam in New Orleans, right?
He's a lot like Cam Jordan.
He is. They play very similarly. They're built very similarly. They weigh very similarly, right? So very similar in height. So Cam Jordan and Tyquan Lewis, pretty decent comp. Again, does that fit the Dennis Allen mold? Absolutely. But will it fix the problem? God only knows.
It fixes the problem of depth.
No, it will address depth for sure.
Because you need a swarm. You need like a swarm, bro, dude. You got to have, when you ain't gonna get the best guy when you put the best guys on the bench, but the next guys up shouldn't be that much drop off.
Yeah, you want to keep. You're right. You want to keep that rotation moving and keep those guys at the top end fresh, right? That's really what that's about. And I have to give 92 a shout, man. Like Daniel Hardy really, really comes in and helps do exactly that. But he's gonna need a partner, bro. You're damn straight. And I hope that's Dale. At this point, I hope that's Dale. It's clearly not Shamar, and I'm saying that right now because we're just not going to find out if it is Shamar until midway. I don't know, for at least a couple of months.
Shad, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna just read what he's saying. He said, I honestly want to see more of identified quote unquote weapons as opposed to just a player profile. Guys that will be deployed with specific roles, skills for a role. And what he's trying to say is basically he's tired of people telling him that this guy doesn't fit because he doesn't fit the requirement that these coaches. It ain't. I mean, I'm not the coach. All I know is what the history is. And I don't think, to be honest with you, until we solidify the other edge position, until we solidify who that guy is, I think right now they have to stick to the model. But once we got those two guys identified, then you can start getting some weapons. I think that guy can come in and we got a little depth. This guy can only get deployed with that skill set, that pass rusher skill set. Then you can get a guy that's 235 or 240 or something like that can really get after the quarterback. I just don't think we're deep enough yet. I don't think we're deep enough, not at edge yet. But that's just my opinion.
You are not wrong, sir. Not with, you know what I mean? Not with a lot of the conversation me and you have had about edge thus far, and obviously Tripp is involved in those conversations. But a lot of the conversations we've had here on this edge rusher position has revolved around, motivated Dial and healthy Shamar Turner. One of these things is not.
Well, don't forget though that we got Samo's guy, Jamboree Chroma, still on the roster.
I'm not sure why are you telling me not to forget that for?
Well, because he's been on the roster, he's been developing. Something.
I have to be an asshole, man. I have to be an
Dennis
asshole.
Allen, Brian Ben Johnson, they feel better about the defensive line than the whole fan base, basically. By saying, well, last year we were, introducing the scheme. So guys were thinking more than they were playing. This year, we're going to coach them up on individual, beat that guy in front of you. And that seems to be what they're banking on. Whereas like Tyquan Lewis, he's older, yeah, but that also means he's a veteran. He's proven. So he would have more, gravitas coming in than a Jeremy Chroma or Jeremiah Martin or Jonathan Garvin, who are already on the roster. But they won't know until, the pads go on. And I'm sure like a veteran, like Tyquan ain't trying to, go to camp out in the summer. He'll sign, once camps start and maybe attrition or injuries or teams saying, hey, we need, a veteran presence at defensive end. Then Tyquan Lewis, his agent's phone will probably be ringing off the hook. But until, teams see their guys in pads, I don't know.
Why I'm surprised that Levante is cool with the line. I'm not cool with the line. I just put it out. That's why, like, part of it, like, that's not the reason for the conversation, but I'm just saying it straight up and down. Like, for them to turn around and tell me that, like, a young developing second round pick on the line is still injured doesn't make me feel better about the existing fact they did nothing with this line outside of a couple of additions. And if we're specifically talking about the edge, yikes, right? So that's where my mind is. I don't know. Like, I do understand how you can. I understand how you can go into this season ignoring this position.
You need to just stop saying line and just get right to it. You cookie cutting. They say you're not comfortable with the edge position.
No, I'm not. I'm also not comfortable with the middle either.
Oh, I am very.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I personally, I'd like to see a little bit more out of the middle. Like, if the middle was creating more pressure, I believe the edge would be more powerful, and that's just yet to be just yet to be proven, right? It's yet to be seen. So if I see that this coming season, I'll take a step back and be a little bit more happy and have different expectations for the way the line's going to perform. But I didn't see it last season. I think everybody can agree with that.
Now,
what's that?
You got different players now.
We do have some additional players, and we do have some health, right? We fingers crossed for Grady Jarrett, y'all. Like, that's really where my brain is. I really hope Grady Jarrett is a real difference maker in this season, but I don't know, man. Who? Shamar? I think Shamar's going to be. I don't think. Sorry, Levante. I don't. The way Ben Johnson spoke about Shamar did not sound great, right? So, yeah, I believe in coaching and development, but like, look at what we're talking about. If we're talking about Shamar, how are you going to coach injured? How are you going to develop injured? If we're talking about Austin, my fingers are crossed that he's going to develop into that guy. So maybe he's that guy. But even if he is, I think he needs some support in the middle of the what's crazy about this, y'all? Like, I'm actually so much less worried about the DE, which is really what Nomad just sort of, the question Nomad posed to me, than I am the interior. It's kind of wild now. Like, it's flipped for me.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that the D tackle position is much more stronger than the edge position right now.
I agree with that. I just don't know. Like, you saying it's stronger than the edge, I agree with. But is it going to create the pressure? Like, is it stronger than the next man's? The next man's line.
I've also tried to explain that what I see on tape to me translates to whatever team you see. Three of those guys that they just brought in, the three guys that they brought in at D tackle. Kentavia Street is interesting, man, because I'll be honest with you, all three of them are interesting because they can all three play either three technique or defensive, nose tackle. And not only that, they're all more explosive than what we had last year. Powerful and explosive. And so, yes, one of the traits about actually Tyquan Lewis is the same kind of player. He's just lighter. And so I'll just get him off the screen right now. We'll talk about the D-line because it's probably best to discuss this real quick. Between Kentavious Street, kid we brought out of Tennessee, I forget his name, the white
James
guy.
Lynch, Neville Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore, I can't tell you how much of a market difference it is with their explosiveness and their hand fighting and their ability to dent the pocket from the inside as opposed to what we were getting last year. It's suddenness, instant pushback that's going to, in tandem with the edge rushers, help that pocket collapse a whole lot faster than it did last year.
So that's unfortunately kind of easy to see.
It's easy to see when you watch it.
Hold on now. You're watching these guys start in other positions, like on other teams. They're not starting. They're going to be behind Grady and Javon, and we actually need to get it out of Grady and Javon. Want to see more Grady and Javon than we are going to see out of Kentavious Street, than we're going to see out of Neville Gallimore. We need it out of the two guys who are starting.
Yeah. What I'm telling you is I think the supporting cast of Grady Jarrett
is better.
Of Javon Dexter is better.
I agree. I agree that those guys are better than the guys that were the depth pieces last year this time. But
they still all suck.
There's still depth. We still need more out of the starters. You dig? You see what I'm saying? There's still the same two guys that were in place last year, and we're like 29th in like we're low on the totem pole with respect to pressure. We're low on the totem pole with respect to sacks. So unless those two guys are sitting and we're starting Neville and we're starting Kentavious, then we're in the same position we were last year.
Yeah, best thing I can tell you to flush the mindset that you have right now is to flush what you saw last year.
That's crazy. That's
the best way to go about it. And I'm just as a friend, I listen to you go talk about it, and I guess I'm not hitting the right notes with you.
Whatever. It's not nothing to do with no.
I'm gonna explain something to you real quick.
Nothing to do with you.
Quick, Kedz. I know it don't have nothing to do with me. One of the things about last year that probably gets underspoken about on the show is we forget that they were all learning his scheme last year. Learning how to communicate with each other, learning everything on the fly, and learning how to play together. Most of these cats, the interior guys, didn't play together. Bill played with Javon, but Bill was a supplementary piece for most of the season. Javon got stuck playing nose tackle, and that was different for him. While he's learning a new defense, so is Grady Jarrett. That's going to slow you down quite a bit, especially early in the season. I watch enough of that tape to know that I can see those guys getting faster and faster and faster along that front, the more and more they got comfortable with the calls. And so now you got those guys you were talking about last year and not seeing what you were looking for with the year's knowledge under their belt. That's going to be a market improvement.
So who's the nose tackle on this team now?
You got Javon, you got Grady, you got Jordan Lynch, you got Kentavious Street, you got
not the defensive tackle. Who's the nose? All these guys are going to play nose?
I think they'll all get thrown in there at that. Grady will even get thrown in there. He ain't got no business being there, but he'll do it from time to time, depending on what package they got.
Remember the conversation about who's the number one wide receiver? It's the same thing on the defensive line. Who's the nose? Well, they all are. Who's the edge? They all are. Because of the interchangeability and the calls, I don't think there's a designated nose. There's a designated 3-tech. There's a designated this or a designated that. They're just kind of mix and match, however they do.
I'm going to ask y'all if you think that's best. Do you think that just general? Hold on, let me finish. And I'll let you go and answer it. Do you think it's best to have just a team of generalists as far as the line is concerned versus specialists?
Well, I don't think we've gotten there yet because remember, new defense, Dennis Allen's using players that weren't his scheme fits. So the cohesion wasn't there. The gelling wasn't there. The playing fast wasn't there because they were thinking. It's like, where am I supposed to be? What's my gap? What's my responsibility? So that's gonna slow down. That's gonna take a step off of the pass rush or whatever. So with the more familiarity with the system, that should be faster, according to what the coaches are saying. With better coaching up of individual positions, they should be faster. So that's 2 steps faster theoretically. So we won't know until we see it, but also the coaches won't know until they see it. So right now it's kind of all right, well, we forecast this, but we got to wait till they got on pads. And so as fans, all we got is last year. And it's like, well, shit, did they really change a lot from last year? You brought in 3-4 guys on the D line, but we haven't seen it, so we don't know.
Here's
I'm
my question real quick. Let me answer your question real quick about the difference between having specialists and guys that
and generalists.
This is the difference. Like the other team, you got to consider the other team when they doing tape on you and they getting ready for you in the game. When they know exactly where you're going to be and how you're going to be. They got Javon, they got Grady. If you playing in the same goddamn spot every fucking time you line up, they got a beat on you. They know exactly who to double team and who not to. They know what they're running, you don't. And so they know exactly where they're going to be at, what technique they're going to be running. But when you got a bunch of guys that can equally play that as well, you don't know who the fuck the double team is coming to. You don't know who's going to hop up and switch, like in the middle of the cadence between Kentavious Street and Javon Dexter or Neville Gallimore and Grady Jarrett. Grady's playing the nose. All right, I see something right here. Switch up. Put Neville at the nose. That kind of thing, making them being multiple is definitely a plus for the Chicago Bears, that you don't have one identified guy that only plays this, one identified guy that only plays that. That's the key right there. Because you don't know who the hell you want to double team right now.
So I understand the value there. That's actually a very good point. The reason why I asked the question is because we lost Ford, right? And Ford was more clearly a nose. He's that big boy that you could put into that position. And I don't really see that kind of body, on this line anymore. I don't think they have that kind of guy here. So everybody's going to have to be interchangeable in that respect. You also mentioned that Javon was a little bit less Javon in that nose position, and I'd much rather him be at 3 tech if at all possible. So we'll just like Trip was saying,
under quietly got 6 sacks last year.
No, I'm not taking anything away from Javon. I'm just saying I'd rather him be at 3 than at nose, right?
What difference does it make to you if he's getting results?
Because I can guarantee he got more results at 3 than he did at nose. I can guarantee it, and it's got everything to do. It's got everything to do with get off. But
if you got a healthy Grady Jarrett, who you gonna put at 3 technique?
This is a great question. I'm just saying I'm not sure if Javon's really a nose then. Like he's just not. But I'm with you. I would supplant that with a healthy Grady. I think he runs 3 tech over top of Javon, and he's probably the better of the two. Like I say probably. He's the better of the two, like he is. So you're right. Which worries me, because now we've got Javon kind of playing out of position, and I don't know if he's a very good nose.
We'll see. We shall see.
Whole lot of that going around here, right? So, that's really where we are. Now I'm going to ask you both a crazy question. So, a lot of this is going around in the chat, and I want to get y'all take. But if you were to give a number 1 to 32 on the potential of this defense going into the 2026 season, what would that number be? Let's start with Trip.
Don't know. Got to see it.
Well, I'm speculation, sir. We're right now we're living in the land of speculation.
Well, right now, until I see it, bottom of the league.
Okay.
Until they prove something otherwise.
That is a very fair answer. Nomad?
Middle of the road right now.
What brings you to middle?
I do think they improved.
Improved to the tune of middle?
Yeah. Well, I got a couple more breakdowns, man. We got some. If y'all want to do pop quizzes, we can do that. I got some questions for y'all too. Let me get these last couple of breakdowns in real quick, if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
We can get some of that in later. This is going to be an interesting one. What do you guys think about Najee Harris coming off of a knee injury? It's going to be pennies on the dollar.
Is he free?
Free.
No.
Free.
Look, you know what's crazy about this particular player? I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Like that's what's crazy. It sounds like a big thing, and I really didn't expect him to be floating around in free agency right now. But like, there's a reason for this. It ain't like, man, I don't know how much Najee Harris the rest of y'all have watched over the seasons. He can be and should be a league leading back. He has all the tools to do it. He just ain't though. And he weren't. Like I don't know what else to say, man. But he had all the opportunity in the world, had a great offensive line in front of him, and just kind of was table stakes and let his job get taken by like I think he's like a 7th round. I think he's a 7th round draft pick in Warren. Like this man was picked up in the 1st round early. Or something like that. He was picked up early as a drafty running back. He was, and the expectations were relatively high. And I don't think this young man has really lived up to those expectations in any capacity. Now, here's the thing: if he's floating around in free agency, coming off of off of injury, and can get back to form, or maybe even get back to better form. From a depth perspective, you might be able to get yourself a Najee Harris again for,
Isn't that like the only perspective right now? Najee Harris is 28 years old, 6'1", 242 pounds. Just got picked up by the Chargers, who were supposed to go on a nice little run this season. But that got thwarted in September, I think, or in training camp, late in training camp. He got some kind of, I think it was an Achilles tear. So from my understanding, he's right back on track to where he needs to be. It's been almost a year since that happened, which is what it's supposed to be. Now, when you're talking about all that and what I think Najee Harris is worth, he's worth a whole lot more than he's going to get. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying he's in a prove-it situation where pretty much almost 100% this guy is going to be in a situation where he's a supplementary back and needs to prove it. Needs the carries to prove it. And when they do hand the ball to him, you're going to get production because his next contract wanes. And he needs to get back to Najee Harris in his name. And so you get that guy under that circumstances, you tell that guy in conversations, and when you're trying to recruit him here, hey, we know where you are. We know where you need to be. We'll give you an opportunity to put the ball in your hands and show what you're capable of. And it's a different kind of offense. He's played in all power gap schemes. We run more wide zone concepts where there's a running track all the time. In a power gap scheme, it's basically you kind of delaying your running process because you're waiting for a guy to pull over and open up a lane for you, as opposed to a prepared, this is where you need to go. Stretch zone, wide zone, mid zone concept. And I think he'd benefit from that. And we do need a power back, in my opinion. And so that's where I think he fits. Trip, what you think?
Looking at the running back roster, DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, Roshan Johnson, Britton Brown, Coleman Bennett, and Salvon Ahmed. none of those guys are power backs. Maybe Roshan was kind of supposed to be, but he ain't. So for that role, maybe, but with a prove it season for a 28-year-old running back, the way that market has been kind of watered down by the depth of running backs in the available and such. It's like, sure, he would be inexpensive and he would need a kind of like prove it to get back on track to get his money up. But he's going to be 29 years old or 30 years old by that time. So it's like, if he is accepting of the role of, hey, you're going to come in, you're going to be our power back when necessary, and then you're going to support your teammates. If that's the role he wants to play, as opposed to having more touches and more carries to get him, back to form, I don't know, that would fit.
Everything you said is valid, Trip. So I don't, like I say, I don't know about this one. You get this man on the cheap and let him loose and see what happens. And I wouldn't, I'll be frank, I wouldn't be mad if that's what they did. Because again, I don't believe, like, is Roshan Johnson still on this roster? I don't
still
believe
on the roster right now.
I don't believe he's long for the roster. So they may be looking at adding another depth piece in some capacity, and preferably a depth piece that has some north and south stroke. But yeah, he's just one of them. He's one of them running backs that I don't have a whole lot of faith in. I'll just be straight up about this one.
Yeah, I do think it's a lot of things when it comes to this conversation, and I think none of it's lost on me. His injury situation, the caliber of back Kedz seems to think he is, and all that really makes no difference to me, other than the fact that he can bring a little something to the team that we don't have, and we don't have to pay a whole lot for it. And you're only going to do it for about a year.
You know what, Levante nailed it though. Coleman Bennett is a good north-south back too, man. So
and yeah, catch out of the backfield.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you even spend another dollar here just to make sense of it all. So
we'll see, man. I do like the potential here. If we were to get in pads, and again, you guys, it's going to take for us to get in pads for a couple weeks, at least 2 weeks, before you see some shifting start to happen.
Yeah,
but then also a lot of the all of the players that Nomad's bringing up, are veterans. But while we are like, hey, let's give our roster a chance. Remember, attrition, injuries. So, a player goes down. Now we look back at these free agents like, okay, yeah, he's a temporary fit, for now. Najee Harris, he was with the Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where he made his bones, then went to there and got hurt. So yeah, I mean, he's got a track record.
What I'm saying is, like, track record ain't great.
Well,
that's kind of what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is kind of what Trips is saying. I don't do these breakdowns on this part of the season just because, okay, I'm gonna see if the people would want this guy. They like this guy, that guy. No, this is just about showing you who's available in case we need them. That's all.
Yeah, not right now. Like, we're not gonna like bench Mananga to bring in Harris.
I mean, we don't take none of this shit personal. It's just some of the guys. I'd rather you guys know in this part of the offseason who they are and why they're available. That kind of dichotomy, and maybe about the dollar amount too. But it's just about knowing who's available in case we need them. Because once them pads go on, we're gonna need a couple players. Trust me when I tell you. Some guys gonna get nicked up, and hopefully it ain't too bad. But I'd rather our fan base over here on the channel know who these guys are than not. So we're gonna spend a little time talking about them. But we got one more player that I almost guarantee the conversation is gonna change about as soon as I bring him up. And we will right now. I'm not even saying let you guys 33-year-old Leonard Floyd, 6'3", 240 pounds. Before you guys go, let me just tell you, I had never known his measurables, especially his height. I just assumed. And if you would have just bumped into me on the street and said, "Hey, yo, Nomad, how tall is Leonard Floyd?" I would have told you 6'5", 6'6". 6'3"?
I hear you, man.
Never
I
would
hear
have
you.
been.
He's kind of almost a lanky guy, right?
He's very lanky.
Yeah, he stands taller than one would think. I would agree with you in thinking that 6'3" is almost disrespectful and short, right? Like from an overall call, because if you'd bumped into him, I think you probably really would think he's 6'4", 6'5". That would have been my guess too. What's wild about this, and again, Trip will sting him for being 33.
And you know this.
I know it's coming. I know it's coming. Let me be real about this one. This one is closer. It's a little bit more like it ain't never gonna happen, but it's at least a little.
Say that, man.
Because it just ain't. I don't. Okay. I'll just say what I. Sorry, I don't expect him to do anything at this position. I'm just being real here. I'm just saying I don't expect him to do anything. So that being said, I don't expect this to happen. But I wouldn't be mad at it. Like this at least this particular guy. You could
what do you think he brings to the table, Kedz, as far as his physical skills?
This is where I'm going. Like I think this guy actually. Well, shit. Sorry. So he's more of a 3-4 back, though. Wait a minute. No, he played well 4-3. Was he 4-3 in Tampa?
Tampa and Buffalo.
Okay. All right. He fits, man. He fits. He'll do just fine here. He has a proven track record. He can actually get the job done. In a 3-4, he didn't work. That's how that works for Leonard Floyd. So now at 33 years old, you're talking about a guy that you probably could get at, I don't think he's commanding big money right now. We need a guy from a rotational perspective if Shamar's down. And not only do I think that this guy would fit the bill, but I think holistically, dollar for dollar, like what he brings to the table, I think all of that is upsides with this particular player. One more time, don't see them doing it, but I wouldn't be mad. Trip?
Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran, obviously. And he's been productive at the places he's been, but he's not like I would say a top guy or, a top defensive end. He's solid, but looking at what we have versus, bringing him in, like if attrition wise, it's a necessity, cool. But if it's not a necessity, yeah, I'm good.
Well, number one, Leonard Floyd, I got to go back to when he was with the Bears. I did not like Bears fans and fans in general, when they don't see immediate, if they don't get the immediate satisfaction of this guy came right out of the box and he was a home run kind of numbers, they really, really poo-poo the guy. And this is before I was a Bears podcast, before we all were podcasters. Some of this stuff was going on. And I was just like, dang, give him time. I mean, he's just young and learning the NFL.
So as you're going, do you feel he was in the right scheme?
I think it fit him. We were running a 3-4 at the time. And that's what he came out of in Georgia. I think he ran into was these are the best football players in the world blocking me versus from one week to the next, I can be the Jimmys and Joes, That's the difference between a great college football player and running into that dude every time you step on the field on a Sunday. And so I think a lot of guys struggle with that early on until they build their skill set, build their bag a little bit, and go into their bag a little bit and learn what they're really, really good at. And what, no matter if I do this to you, my counter move to it, you can't do shit to it. It took him a few years to really learn that. And as soon as he left, I saw it hit home with him. I don't know if it was the coaching or it was just that time for him. But as soon as he left here, I saw it. And I knew it was just going to be a matter of time. He went to the Rams, I think, right after he left here.
It was Rams. So, and I asked you the scheme question very specifically because this Bears fans were a little bit hard on this guy with valid reason. I have to back them up on this because he came in a 3-4, which I personally believe was the wrong scheme for him. He came in and he had, I'll tell you why. So he came in and he had a relatively good inaugural season, about seven sacks that year, decent tackle numbers. He was injured during part of that season. Second year, same thing. He was injured during part of that season. Decent amount of sacks, decent amount of tackles. Everybody was kind of middle of the road with this particular player. Then years 3 and 4, no injury, played the full seasons, and just really didn't get anything done. And that's where things went sideways, and that's why he didn't get re-signed, right? As a Bears draft pick, those final 2 seasons, there's little with respect to excuses or reasons why he didn't, his output didn't at least meet what he'd done in the previous 2 years injured, right? It actually declined. And in that respect, off he went to the Rams as a low wallet share free agent, and then destroyed things, like just shut it down as a Ram, with Aaron Donald causing havoc in the center.
Who also runs it in a 3-4 defense.
Were the Rams running a 3-4 or 4-3?
Oh, they was running a 3-4.
Are you sure?
It ain't the scheme, kids.
Huh.
It is not the scheme at all. It was about really what I was just trying to tell you, man.
I thought the Rams were running a 4-3 this whole time.
They've been running a 3-4 since that guy got there.
Damn. Then there's no excuse. I don't know. I don't have any kind of excuse to give him for 2018 or 2019. He just didn't have it in him. By 2020, just simply change the scenery. He turned into a monster. And like there's no there's no two ways about this. Like he was just a monster the following 5 years in a row.
Hey, guess what? Luckily you got me. Because I did do some homework on Leonard Floyd after he left here. And that season, I watched the Rams, and I don't just watch games. I watch press conferences and see, because he got a lot of that kind of stuff about, what's the difference between, I remember the Super Bowl, what's that little media run they do right before the Super Bowl? It's doing this media run. People ask him a lot of questions. Yeah, press row, right? And they asked him that a couple times. He was just like, from what I could get from it, they basically made it simple for him. It's just like they didn't complicate the shit for him. This is what we need you to do. Be fast. Be you, and don't think about it. Just go. Because you look who you got playing underneath you. Aaron Donald. Just give him some. You just need to flash out there and show on the edge. Beat your guy around the edge and give him a problem. The quarterback's going to see it out of the corner of his eye. They were just doing optics with him. And just so happened that he was getting home a lot of times from the pressure from the inside. And so that helped him out a little bit too. But it was just, they dumbed it down for him. Sometimes coaches can complicate this shit way too much than it needs to be. When all you got to do is just be you. Just be fast, and everything else will take care of itself. You don't need to be coaching a rookie 5 and 6 different goddamn moves. Give him one move and a counter move. Work on that until you're great at it. I think that was a lot to do with it. From his press conference, he said they simplified it, and that's how I read into it. They just told him, this is what you do.
Like he had, like, it wasn't like he was. Yeah, I'm. That's crazy to me, bro. Like we're talking about the 2018 Bears defense, which is a fucking really good defense, bro.
It was.
You know what I mean? We're talking Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks in the middle. This is a super solid squad all the way around, and he just couldn't get it done. He had another year with them, and that year, let's say Khalil Mack was a little bit less effective because he played for the better part of the entire season injured. But again, couldn't get it done. 1 year removed, my boy's a monster. You know what I'm saying? Like it is. And if you're saying that the scheme is the same, I have zero excuses for this guy. He just didn't have it in Chicago, and I don't blame the Bears fans for a second for not really being like, hey, like we love Leonard Floyd, re-sign him, because he just didn't. Those last 2 years, 2018, 2019, with that vaunted Bears defense under Vic Fangio, my boy just didn't have it. He just didn't have it, man.
Hey, kid, just like look at what Booker said. He's mocking me, but he's doing it in a good way. He says, media, what's the difference between then and now, Leonard Floyd? Coach told me to get to the QB. Basically, it's played to his strengths. His strength is his speed.
Well, here's what's crazy. Like, what's wild about him saying that, and even you echoing in it, and it's like no shot to you or anything like that, is just what was his responsibility as a DE in a 3-4 for the Bears? Like, there's no difference here. Pin your ears back, go get the quarterback, go. Like, he doesn't even really have to hold the edge. Use your speed, get to the quarterback. And
I know you're a friend, Book. I know. I'll just be
no. He's yeah, like, but Book, you're being real about it, and I'm doing the same thing. I just don't even understand how much easier could they have made this for him. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you what I thought was the difference between Leonard Floyd here and Leonard Floyd in Chicago. Leonard Floyd there and Leonard Floyd in Chicago. His counter move, his speed, and inside. Go back and watch some Leonard Floyd Rams tape. More times than not, when he made it home to the quarterback and got to him, whether he got
spin back,
was his counter to his speed, spin back inside.
Mm-hmm.
It was he did it a few times and was successful in Chicago, but it was inconsistent here. In LA, that shit was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean, crisp. And he's had a career making about $10 million a year ever since.
He should be. He's getting about $1 million a sack because that's what he's putting up ever since he left Chicago. The day he left Chicago, he had 10 sacks a year. Like, to me, that's crazy. That's messed up. That's crazy.
I think the only reason he left here is because we transferred to a 4-3. And
because we transferred to a 4-3?
Right when he was in the throes of getting ready to get signed again, and now we lost that whole regime. Remember?
That's a good catch.
If Pace and that regime is still here, he'd still been a Bear. They'd re-signed it because he was right there, and it would have costed us $10 million at least.
Well, like I'm saying, I don't know if he really would be just like 4-3 move sealed the fate, man. You're right. The flip side of that is he just didn't do anything those last 2 years to justify them paying him $10 million a year. Like, he just didn't. I can't even argue with that.
So bottom line, would you guys?
I even think they took his 5th year. 1, 2, 3.
No, he got right out.
Yeah, man, they didn't even take his 5th year.
Yeah, that's if Pace would have been here, he'd have been a Bear. Trust me, he would have been a Bear.
I'm not. I can't. Like I said, can't argue with that. But damn.
But would you guys oppose? The only thing that to me, if I wanted to be a stickler to what we've been talking about, does he fit as far as his weight requirement? That's the only thing.
Oh, I can dig it.
But I think his length makes up for it.
Not only does the length make up for it, his pedigree does too. Like, we're talking about fit, and this guy puts it down. Like, he has a proven track record, whereas some of the guys we're discussing here do not, or at least their track record is a little bit different. Can he really be kicked inside? I don't think so. I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
He's stronger than he used to be. I'll tell you that.
You think he could be kicked inside?
Yeah, NASCAR down there, he can get it done.
Okay.
He's a lot stronger than he was when he was here.
I believe that.
I don't think the 240 is actually accurate after looking at him. He's a lot stronger.
Like he looks 240 here, man. He looks pretty svelte, and it's got less to do with strength.
In a Bears uniform, that was like how many years?
Oh, that's him back in the day. True. Okay.
But the thing is, Leonard Floyd, he would be defined as a specialist, right? A pass rush guy.
Yeah, man.
Why? It's a question that none of us have the answer to, but why can't we develop Daniel Hardy into that?
We can. I think that's the plan.
Because if knowing that he's a beast out there on the field on special teams, if a NASCAR package, so to speak, hey, Daniel Hardy, get out there at edge, get to the quarterback. That's all you got to do. I think we should be able to do that, as a team, whereas I get that, Floyd has the experience already, but then at his price point, at his age, it's like, well, why can't we get, that just quarterback pressure from somebody already on the roster who is developing still?
I agree with that, Trips, man. I do think I'm a big fan of Daniel Hardy. Look at King. He always I think the more opportunity this guy gets, the better off we are from those opportunities being given to him. Now, if things start to happen, again, Daniel Hardy's another year into the system with this guy, with this coach. He's going to be a little faster. He's going to have a little bit more understanding, and his assignments are going to be a lot more clean, crisp. He knows exactly what to do now. And so I think they're kind of banking on that. And so all the question marks that we have about, okay, how come they haven't done this? How come they haven't done that? I think they're banking on that part. Trips just got to say it.
Well, one more time. We gonna see. Right.
But anybody got a opposition to Leonard Floyd? I ain't one of them. I'm good with, if we want to supplement that edge room, I'm with this one. I know what he's gonna bring. I know what he's gonna bring to the table.
I'm waiting for it. I got nothing to say.
33, he's getting better.
Wow,
he's getting better with time.
Let's not go too far. But
I'm just telling you what I saw on film.
But did you watch him last year?
He's gotten better.
I've been watching Leonard Floyd every fucking year since he's been in the league.
But last year he wasn't the Leonard Floyd. He wasn't the Leonard Floyd of history, like of lore. You know what I mean? Like he was not quite.
He was better.
No, he was now. So he was on Atlanta last year. Atlanta had one of the worst defenses last year. The defense was not. Yeah, their defense wasn't good.
Okay.
You liked Atlanta defense last year?
I love that young defense, man.
Yeah,
I do.
That scored up and down on quite a bit.
Well, shit. If that's the case, then we might see Mr. Floyd up there and
when you got
with Ryan Pace.
When you got
he was up there with Ryan Pace last year.
No, Minnesota, not Atlanta. Ryan Pace is in Minnesota now.
Oh, he went to Minnesota.
Yeah, he's not. He's not GM. He's like in the office, but he's not like the head dude or nothing.
He's like player operations specialist or some shit.
I didn't realize he'd gone back into the NFC North.
Yeah, he's always gonna find. He's gonna always.
Interesting. So you're saying maybe Ryan Pace will bring him over to me.
And trust me, if he goes to Minnesota, we're gonna feel him.
Damn. Interesting.
I'd rather have him with us than against us.
I agree. I think you're both right. I'm sure he had something to do with bringing Leonard Floyd over there. Hell, there was a whole resurgence of just Bears stuff, including Ian Cunningham, right? Like all kinds of Bears shit going on over in Atlanta. But that being said,
I want to say, fucking, what's his name? Number 24 that was with us the last couple of years. What's his name? The running back?
Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert might have ended up on their roster or something.
I don't think so.
I might be wrong.
I'll check where he's at. I don't think that's where he wound up.
I might be wrong. But all right, man. This Leonard Floyd. I got some questions for y'all, man. And it's gonna get the Cat's gonna start buzzing. We're gonna start talking a little shit right about now. But I got a general conversation for you. And it's one it's not the first time you're gonna hear this, but it's a good conversation to have. And let's just answer it on a general. Let's just go around the board and answer it generally, one answer, and then give our explanation as to why not. All right, I'm gonna ask. No maniacs, chime in when you want to, because we're gonna get everybody in this one. Is Caleb Williams a legitimate MVP candidate? Yes or no?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, I'll answer first. I think yes, he is.
I mean, how is an MVP candidate defined?
Okay, well, after you say yes or no, we can get into that.
Well, I mean, I can't answer it if I don't know the definition.
Yes, you can, just like I did.
So pull it out of my ass.
Yeah.
We're gonna say you want to say.
I think he can. I think he'll be better than he was last year, and I think that his development will hopefully keep developing. And so, the MVP, that means like the best player, the most valuable player, the one with the most stats. I don't know how you define it.
Okay, so let me help you.
Let Kedz answer here.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say yes.
All right, now go ahead, Trips. Go ahead and give your spiel, man.
I mean, well, I don't. It's like how do you define it?
So
like,
let me help you with the definition. All right, so think Lamar Jackson over the course of the last few seasons, and why I say specifically that player just put up ridiculous numbers in ridiculous ways. Didn't necessarily go too deep into the playoffs or really threaten championship, but leading the league from an offensive perspective.
I mean, just using that Lamar Jackson example, whether it be coaching or whatever, in the playoffs, he has a reputation of choking. So
yes,
he's valuable during the season, but if he's not getting his team further, how is he the most valuable?
Well, this is why I gave you this particular answer. I'm not sure if the litmus test is Super Bowl deep playoff run, because it hasn't necessarily been for guys like Lamar. So if using that context, what are your thoughts? Yes or no?
Say that last part again.
Sure. So using Lamar as an example of a guy who hasn't necessarily gone to the big dance or deep into the playoffs, but has been explosive, exciting to watch, league leading in many categories. Do you believe that Caleb Williams can have that kind of an impact in 2026? Yes.
I think Caleb's impact is different than Lamar in the sense of Lamar Jackson is a quarterback who can run, but he's kind of a better runner than he is a quarterback, decision making, putting the ball where it needs to be. Whereas Caleb will run if he has to. He would rather throw the ball, whereas Lamar's like, oh shit, I'm out. I'll run.
So I don't want you to compare the quarterbacks. I just
it's not a comparison. It's a comparison of play. And so if the MVP has been Lamar Jackson with the play style that I just described, where it's like, yeah, he will throw the ball, but his legs are also more of a weapon than, let's say, his arm. I think teams kind of like, well, let's stop him from running and we'll let him throw kind of thing. Whereas Caleb is more of a, well, we might want to force him to run, because we don't want him to get the ball into any of these weapons' hands. And so now all Caleb has to do is get the ball to his playmakers, and he's going to rack up all kind of yards. So if that's your MVP, sure. I consider the most valuable player as the one who is instrumental in his team being, on a championship caliber level. And that does not mean getting to the playoffs and choking it away. If you get to the playoffs and lose, that's one thing, as long as you play a good game.
So what's crazy is he kind of has, as far as Lamar is concerned, he kind of has. It's been like more of the defense has dropped off, or you know what I mean? It's been some other stuff more so than just Lamar take all the blame. But in any event, I think, to give a little bit more context on the Caleb thing, and even in comparison to Lamar creates with his feet in order to open up his receivers, and it works. Caleb does the same thing. He's just much less of a running threat. And what I mean by that is a lot of the time Caleb's moving around and he's negotiating space without the intent of running down the field. And in that case, he's still drawing defenders towards him and creating open lanes for his receivers. So in that respect, I do think that they're slightly similar. But as far as the impact is concerned over time, over the course of the season, I'm really optimistic and really hopeful that this is exactly what we're going to see. I think we're going to see a much improved, a much more confident Caleb Williams, who could well vie for the offensive MVP of the league.
All right, I'm gonna strip it down to the bone, and I'm gonna steer a little bit away from what the Lamar Jackson conversation. I think is relevant, but I'm gonna kind of.
It was just an example, but go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stay focused on what I think can happen. I'm talking about for this season. I think just thinking about how the weapons that we have, number one. And I think what we've been talking about for a while here is what I think the Bears are planning on doing and being an explosive offense. Of course, he's going to be a byproduct of that. If we have an explosive running game, like I think we will, Caleb's throws and the wide open receivers are going to be out there. It's going to be obvious for all eyes to see. That's what happens when you got a solid running game and you got a good offensive line. The throws become much more easier. They become much more cleaner. Guys are running open all the time, wide ass open. And now he understands the offense a whole lot more than he did last year. As the fire hose was on his ass last year. Now with his understanding of the offense, knowing what Ben is thinking, they're going to put their foot on the gas, and this is going to be a 21 point. The goal is going to get 21 before halftime. And he's definitely going to be a byproduct of that because the ball is going to be in his hands a lot. Who knows if they're going to come on the ground or in the air, but I'm sure some of that's going to be in the air. So that number by itself, he's going to stack up some numbers, man. Easy touchdown throws, easy 60-yarders, 40, 50-yarders. Chunk plays are going to be huge for us. And I think Caleb is going to be a beneficiary of that. Add all that up to the point that you guys were talking about how, he's not necessarily a intentional runner. No. But I'm sure they will script some plays like they have all last year where he takes off and run. He'll get some chunk plays out of that. Mm-hmm. But Kez's point about how he negotiates the pocket and wants to stay there and throw the ball is accurate. Those plays where everybody is in coverage down the field, he realizes it. It's one guy to beat when he breaks his pocket. That's going to help him stack some extra numbers. And so I say all that together with the addition of Ben Johnson and his creativity, them being, if they are winning, we're going to be a televised team this year. Very televised team. We're going to be on TV a lot. That's going to add to the people that do all the voting and deciding. I think he's going to be in the conversation. I wouldn't even call him a dark horse. I think if the Bears are winning, he's going to be a legitimate candidate.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the Madden cover, it's going to help with the popularity, among fans that aren't Bears fans, because everybody plays Madden and you got to watch that damn cutscene before you can do anything. And it's going to be, Iceman highlights. And so the popularity, of his individual persona, his aura, if you will, is going to, garner some MVP votes, aside from his on the field play. So his young popularity, becoming a face of a franchise, a younger quarterback face of the league kind of thing, goes along with those MVP votes, that have nothing to do with on the field play.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Trips? One other thing that I would want to mention. Watching that tape, and it's because Caleb was new to the offense and learning it on the fly. Seems like later in the season he started to really, really take to this aspect of the offense. But if you start watching Ben Johnson operate that offense, play in and play out, how he was calling this play against this play, or in sequence of the play he just called before, man, that dude gives a master class on how to hide tight ends and exploit tight ends on given situations. There were some situations that Caleb didn't even, it was sometimes because he had a little pressure on him, and earlier in the season he was just learning the offense. But man, Ben Johnson knows how to hide those tight ends and use them in particular situations. Sometimes Caleb just did not know it was there.
You're damn right, and I don't think he figured it out until the Pittsburgh game. Like I say the Pittsburgh game, but it was actually the game before that he figured it out. Because towards the end of the game before, and I can't remember who they were playing, there's one play where he's scrambling out to the left side, and Colston Loveland is following this. I believe it's like maybe the first or second game where Colston's now healthy and on the field. And he's following backyard football, and Caleb gets sacked, and he kind of looks up, and as he's going down, he's line of sight with Colston. There's no way he didn't see him, but he can't make the pass because it's like it's not a good situation. And at that moment, I think he kind of stopped and said, shit, I have a guy who's going to be out there and readily available for me when I need to hit somebody and I'm in trouble. And moving forward, he kind of figured out, let me look for Colson. And Colson had a great season right after that. That connection started to build. So I expect them to really build on that connection and layer on top of it Cole Kmet and Sam Roush, right? Like, so it should be really interesting in that respect. I don't know if you guys got the chance to watch his interview with Chris Sims very recently. Chris Sims had an interview with Caleb. Yo, homies. Anyhow, it was an interesting interview, and there's a couple of things. He's clearly more confident in what's going on, and you can see it. But he said a couple of things that truly resonated with me with regards to how I think he might perform this season. And one of the things that I noticed personally with him early into last year was just foot placement. If you guys remember, early in the last year, balls were sailing, and they were like, if they weren't sailing, they were, shot out of a cannon, rockets, hard to catch. And then as we move closer to the end of the season, he started to get his feet set, and he started to really put things where they needed to be put. And it was just over time. And as we commented on those games and did commentary and watched through those games, it was kind of a regular process of thought for me. And my thoughts was, I don't see him really figuring it out until about week 12-ish. And I was bang on. He's really started to figure it out right around then, and that continued right into the playoffs. But in conversation, he was talking about his top 10 passes or top 5 passes, something like that. And obviously the pass to DJ is number one, and I think that goes without saying almost. It is that sweet a pass. But the reason why he knew, and if y'all clearly remember this pass, right? Like when the pass leaves his hands, he just put his hands in his hand warmer and was like, yeah, like I know that's a dime. You know what I mean? That's a perfect.
You throw that motherfucker practice enough times, you know it.
Brother, he knew. And when he's now describing it, he was like, bro, I had to get the right power because the power is from my legs. And when he said that, I was like, okay, my boy, you got your feet set, right? You knew your feet was set. You felt it come off your thigh, and you gunned it into where you needed to gun it into. Bang, you hit DJ Moore for a touchdown. And he was like, I knew because I felt it come off my legs. And I was like, now I know you're ready now. Like this is me talking, right? Like now I know you're ready for 2026. You're gonna get those feet set. I don't expect to see a lot of sailing balls because his feet are set. I can't wait for 2026 Caleb Williams, y'all.
Well, that's the word that I've heard a lot this offseason, trust.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, we'll put him on the field when we trust him, or, you know, when we trust that he'll be where he needs to be. And I think Ben Johnson has that trust now in Caleb to is like, all right, you know what I want. Caleb has more trust in Colston Loveland, in Rome, and Luther. You know, he has trust in Komet. You know, he'll learn with Roush and Xavier Thomas once they're up to speed. You know, he being Caleb Williams, you know, maybe have more trust in the offensive line, you know, and can get the pass out before needing to scramble. You know, so it's a maturation process for the entire offense, for players, and it's just all happening at the same time, as well as now going into a second season head coach. So it's a process that we were very happy with last year because of how far they went, you know, in the first season under Ben Johnson and all that. And so now the expectations are higher. And so with higher expectations, it seems like some of these players feed off of that. And so they want that chip. They want that smoke, if you will, you know, because that inspires them, that motivates them to get to that next level. And, you know, that's where the trust comes in, you know, as they elevate the team, in this case, the offense, to just be that much better.
All right. I'm out there to ask one more time, go around the horn after all that being said and that whole conversation. One word answer. Is he a legitimate MVP candidate? I'm gonna say yes to.
Trips.
Sure.
Yeah, candidate, sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This one here is gonna it's gonna be kind of it's gonna divide us a little bit, but not in a bad way. It's gonna be some different points of view here, man, because I'm not sure where I land, but I'm gonna ask the question. What is the biggest asset Ben Johnson brings? Two answers. Options: A, offensive brilliance; B, locker room culture. Biggest asset Ben Johnson brings to the table.
Well, okay. So I'm just gonna say that I don't see.
We need one or two, A or B.
I have to answer A is where I'm going. Okay. I only see this
much. We'll get back to you, kids. You
go for it.
Offense.
Yeah, A.
Offense. I'm gonna say culture, just to be a damn difference maker here. I'm gonna say culture, but go ahead, kids. Give me your nuance there.
So it's simply based and rooted in my position as a fan. I can only see what I see. I see good, better, best. I know his impact on the culture is extreme. It is as large as it's ever been, and like I can only compare it to Mike Ditka level influence at this present time, and I think that's going to grow and simply get better. Not to say that it's bad. I still think it's going to grow. It's just what I see. I can't. You know, a lot of that culture and influence is hidden away from us. We don't see it, right? So where I'm leaning to is, again, an offensive schemer that I think may be one of the best in the business. And I'm confident in saying that we're going to see a lot of that best in the business, even more so in year two. I don't think part of what they said is that they were doing installs all season long offensively. I'm not so sure that's going to stop. I think Ben Johnson is a mad scientist when it comes to offense. I call him the football psycho. I think football psycho continues. You know, season 2. You know, the Bates Motel gets serious, y'all. So I'm knee deep on option A.
And I think the option B flows from option A.
Yeah.
You know, because good, better, best. Oh, yeah, that corny shit. or all of the culture building things that outside is like, the hell are they doing that bullshit for? But whereas in the building, it's motivation and all that. But his offensive acumen, Ben Johnson, is on record, for players. They know who he is. They see what he can do with, getting guys open. And I think the level of respect is built from option A that carries into B. And so it's like, if he, was just, a culture guy, a locker room, get him rah kind of guy, and his offense sucked, he's not going to have that same level of gravitas or,
respect dies
respect.
hard, right?
Right.
Dies hard in that case.
But knowing that, it's like, oh shit, this dude is an offensive mind. Now players are more receptive, more open, more willing to do the culture aspect of it. Because he has it all. I mean, I think his culture is ingrained in his offense, and it flows from there.
Well, I'm gonna kind of reverse engineer this whole thing, and I'm gonna tell you it works this way. Number one, I know this. Every team in the NFL is running the same stuff. Every single team in the league is running the same exact stuff offensively. It's nothing new. How they present it is another thing. You probably get a couple tricks in the bag, maybe 2 a game, maybe you pull them out at the right time, that can make you look like a genius. And he's definitely done that at the right time here and there. Some of the stuff he's done has been questionable for a lot of people. All that being said is, number one, an offensive coordinator is a dime a dozen in this league. He just flat out, they're a dime a dozen. They run the same stuff. 2, none of it means anything. And I'm not talking about just the offense. Defense, none of it means nothing unless you get total buy-in from everybody, from the rookies all the way out to the veterans. And that's why I say that his culture, the culture that he's brought to the Bears, everybody knew his pedigree before coming in here. They knew they was getting an explosive, a guy that thinks explosive offense. They knew what they were getting. Couple that with Caleb Williams, everybody kind of knew what to expect. To get it early, people didn't really think that was going to happen. But it played out well for the Bears. We knew what we were getting there. The questions before he got here was, can he be a leader of men? And that was my question about him before he got here. Because you can be a damn good offensive coordinator and have a great pedigree in that regard and get here and not be able to lead the whole locker room, and that can cause division. That's exactly what didn't happen. He rallied that whole goddamn team together. And they all marched to the beat of his drum. And I think everything that we've seen following that came success. And it's a byproduct of what he brought to that locker room. You can be any coordinator in the league, a great coordinator in this league, and you can be the number 1 coordinator in this league and get minimal results because you don't have everybody marching to that beat. That's why I say culture is the best thing he brought to Chicago.
I have my arguments for this, but I'm going to let you ride with that one. That was a good little soliloquy. Where are we going next?
I like he says he needs to manage it. He does need to. I'm when you know what? I'm not at the point where I'm ready to question his decisions. Be honest with you, Cornell, because I know he has his way of thinking. And if he's aggressive and got his foot on the gas at a time where we think, oh man, take the field goal, I'm just gonna be like, fuck that. If you think you can get, he might get it. You know what I mean? But it can cost us too. So that's the, you know what? That's the
riverboat gambler.
When you have an alpha personality, dude, that alpha personality is going to spin every round he got.
But that's also his confidence.
Yeah,
it's like, I got to play for that.
Yep.
And I'm gonna trust my players to execute. Whether it be 4th down and instead of taking the points, which can make a difference in the game, because it did by not taking points. Ben Johnson actually, I remember him saying something to the effect of, I'm going to learn to, temper my aggressiveness in certain, game situations. So it is a learning process for him as a head coach and a offensive coordinator, but that's part of his maturation process as well. But to hear those words come out of his mouth about his own shortcomings, is refreshing to hear from coaches, because it's like, oh, okay, well, he obviously is in tune to what we are seeing as fans are frustrated with. And it's like he is at least addressing it as opposed to just not talking about it.
You know what? I think the asshole in him, he ain't gonna back off. I think there's a good asshole aspect of Ben Johnson. I think he's just gonna be like, F y'all.
Told you, that's why
we're gonna do our shit.
And I think he's added 2 wrinkles into the mix to really allow him to get, 3 yards in a pinch. And those 2 wrinkles right off the bat are your Sam Roush and your Xavier Thomas. It's those 2 guys. If you watch some of the way that Xavier Thomas has been used in the past, I don't know how he don't get 3 yards in a pinch. And just one little lineup. There's one situation where they got him lined up right out wide, and he runs full tilt into to the left, and the corner follows him, and then he goes right back to the right, and there's, because he's got 4.22 speed, unless you got something close to that, he's open. Right?
Just physics,
just physics alone, right? So there's the 2 new wrinkles, the 2 new players on this team. Again, with Sam Roush, just picture, Kyle Shanahan, Kyle Juszczyk link ups, right, of the past. He can use Sam Roush in a very similar way, and also use Xavier Thomas in a very interesting way that you don't see every day. So yeah, I expect him to be even more aggressive.
Hey, kids, I'll give you guys a good example. I might get some people to fuss and fight with me about this because how the shit played out in the end. But you're talking about a guy that had one of the best pedigrees, probably the best pedigree in the league as far as offensive coordinators were concerned. When we got him was Mike Martz. Great offensive mind. I thought his mind was absolutely genius. The way he thought about football and quarterback position and how to execute an offense. The results wasn't all that. And would you consider Mike Martz a leader of men? Nobody would tell you that. That's the difference, man. You got great minds, and we've always had them in this league. And they don't always translate to great offensive, great head coach. I'm giving the ultimate compliment, because I think at the time, Mike Martz, he just ran the best show on turf. Come on, man.
Wasn't he kind of checked out, like halfway out retirement or something?
I don't know nothing about that, but I know about his mind and how his pedigree was.
So that's
what we brought when we hired him.
I was trying to leave you with the last words on that. And
I knew I'd get a little fussing, but I just had to mention that's the difference.
I left you with the last words, but here's the thing about Mike Martz. It never worked here. That's why he, if and this is where it goes back to what Tripp is saying.
Green, you know that, kid.
No. I'm just saying, if it works here, you get the cachet, you get that respect because it works, and then the culture builds out of that. Because it never worked, the culture never got the culture. You never got the respect.
He didn't have Kurt Warner in that offense, and his thing was about timing. The ball needs to be there at this time. We didn't have personnel for
it.
I'm just saying, and this is the dichotomy between the two views here, A or B, right? If you can get that respect and this thing starts to ratchet up and actually work, the culture will get behind you. Now you're a leader of men. He said this was going to go down. It went down. I believe you. Right? And that's like, I guess there's something to be said of, and this I think is a bit of a side conversation to the original question, but I think there is something to be said about the head coach as the offensive coordinator and having it actually work, right? Like Kyle Shanahan is a good example of this. Andy Reid is a great example of this, right? Like if it works, you get the cachet, the whole team is behind you. You can run the you can run the gamut. You can go for a Super Bowl. If it ain't working, you're on your way out. Matt Nagy.
And look at didn't Lamar Jackson with all his MVP finalist things and trophies, didn't he get a new head coach because they couldn't get over the hump?
And good point. And in that case scenario, we are talking about a head coach who is not an offensive guy, right? What's interesting there is Harbaugh is much more of he's much more of a culture guy. He's not going to command the offense or scheme anything really. If he's scheming stuff, it's special teams, but it's much more of a, hey, you're actually a culture guy. We believe in you for one reason or the next, right? So,
I think Cornell is more right than all of us right about now. I'm gonna read it.
What did he say?
I'm gonna give him a little.
Cornell Bryant. That was his problem. Trips being Mike Martz. He tried to force his offense with personnel that wasn't a fit. Jay Cutler.
Let me answer that right quick. Jay, he thought he could mold Jay into the quarterback that, obviously he had in LA. And Jay just wasn't that guy. And that's why it didn't work. And there's all kinds of other pieces about the rest of the personnel that's accurate too. I don't think he had all the pieces that he needed, but because he couldn't mold Jay into what he needed Jay to be as a pocket quarterback. Jay was more gunslinger than he was system quarterback. That's why March didn't succeed here. The quarterback has the ball in his hands 90% of the time. If he doesn't accurately execute the offense the way it's designed, that offensive coordinator looks like an asshole. He doesn't know what he's doing. So Jay was the reason. I think the offense fit. I think he should have, under the circumstances, adjusted the offense to fit Jay. Because at some point you had to know that this guy is not going to be a system quarterback. You just got to work the system around him. And he never adjusted to that.
You're probably bang on, because real talk, and then came other guys and it didn't necessarily land with them either from a system perspective. I think Jay went through 3 or 4, maybe even 5 systems over the course of his career.
Not a system quarterback. That's why Jay Cutler is he's a black cat when it comes to quarterbacks, man. He just did things his way, and when it worked well, but when it didn't, man, everybody wanted to rip him.
Jeff
George deserved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. But I got another question for you guys.
What do you got?
Actually, this is a little bit more interesting, and it's a little more nuanced too. Did the organization strike the perfect balance by baking needs directly into the draft board, or did the team reach for specific fits in this draft? I can read it again if you want me to.
Yeah, read that again.
So did they bake what they needed into Ryan Poles' draft board so they got what they wanted, or did they reach for certain players during this draft for fits? So basically put Ryan Poles in a trick bag and saying, hey, this is what we need. We're going to put this on your board and we're going to emphasize this to you. And you go get it, which is what I think happened. Or which a lot of other people felt like while this draft was happening, they thought that Sam Rouse was a reach. They also thought that Xavier Thomas was a reach for positional fit. That's why the question is nuanced.
Well, the thing is, it's a reach to those who don't have a need, maybe. But if you look at Roush, who wasn't the first tight end off the board, but he was up there, and we saw the run of tight ends afterwards. And you look at Xavier Thomas, and it's like, well, he should be a 7th rounder, or he should be available later, and he goes in the 3rd. And then there's scuttlebutt is like, other teams was really liking Xavier as well. He wasn't going to last to the 5th even. So if Ben Johnson has identified, hey, I need another tight end because Durham Smythe missed hella blocks, dropped hella balls, and that third tight end we need in my offense. Xavier Thomas, the speed factor, his intelligence, his underutilization at LSU, he will make a difference in my offense, says Ben Johnson. So, hey, Ryan Poles, these are the guys that will make a difference. Can you get them? And Ryan Poles, as general manager, is like, all right, well, he likes these guys. I like other wide receivers or other tight ends as well. These are our list. Talking around the league, woo. Xavier is probably going to be there. Roush, hey, we're going to take him where we want him. So maybe there were a reach for other teams, but for the Bears, these were needs. Ben Johnson needed a third tight end. Ben Johnson needed a speed guy to open up his offense. So it's not a reach if, their need and they produce. It's like, don't give a shit where you were drafted as long as we got you.
I love the way Tripp's framed that.
Tripp did frame it interestingly, and I'm going to spin it here. So I think they were. I think the answer is B here, because they created a lot of those needs. They created them, right? So going into this draft, I don't think any one of us would have stopped and said, Ben Johnson needs a speedster running back / wide receiver to add on to this offense. I don't think anybody would have said Ben Johnson needs another tight end. Huh?
I actually did say that.
Okay.
Spot receiver.
Okay. He needed one?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, if DJ were gone, remember that whole conversation?
No, but I'm not saying
when the
I'm not saying you didn't say it. I just
go ahead. It don't.
In any event, I thought that they were pretty much fine with what they had in both of those positions. Not to say that drafting either one of those particular identified players wasn't something they should have done, or to say that they shouldn't have done it at the positions that they did it in. And when I say that, I mean they went and they got guys that Xavier was projected much further back. Sam Roush was projected, again, much further back. But they identified these two players and went and got them specifically. Again, I think they created that need. I don't think that need really existed. I think there were other needs that clearly existed, including safety, which they nailed early in the first round. Again, they actually created that need too. Obviously edge and on the line, one of which they went and got, one of which they didn't go and get. That's my take on this. I think a lot of the needs that were addressed were needs that were created. Now, is Ben Johnson going to use the F out of these two particular needs in tight end and wide receiver?
I'm going
oh hell yeah. So I'm not mad at it. Might it be a reach? Maybe. But they had identified something and created the need, in my opinion, and then addressed the need in the draft.
But that's the question, was at the time when Ben Johnson was still in Detroit and they took Jamar Gibbs, the league reaction was like, hell, they take a running back that high for? That's too high. He was overdrafted. But you saw the difference that he was able to make with that offense.
What's funny about that is that I'm probably the only, especially Bears fans. A lot of people said exactly what you were saying, Trip. I might be the one exception to the rule here because I wanted us to trade up and get him, not necessarily in the first, but maybe early in the second. I identified that particular player as something a little bit different because he was not only leading his team as a running back, but also as their top wide receiver in college for a couple of years running. So he had the chops to do either and or. And my thoughts was, you go get somebody like that, you throw him in the backfield and you line him out wide when you need to, and he'll be a difference maker because he's been a difference maker. Ben saw that too and said, you know what? It is worth a first round pick if we jump up and go get this guy. And he did.
I want to say that number one, I think we have to think about it this way. I think just off of my instincts, I don't know this to be sure. My instincts would tell me if Ryan Poles was left to his own devices, that very first pick would have been one of those top edge rushers. Period. That's what would have happened. However, I think that all of this has to be traced back to the end of the season when the GM and his staff got together with the coaches and they reviewed the season. They reviewed the roster, and then once you come up with a composite from that, this is what we think the team is. This is what we think the team needs. How are we going to attack number one this next season, and what are we going to do in this draft to help us attack this season coming up this way? And I think the composite probably came out that Ben Johnson was the biggest room in that voice, which he should be. And he said, we're going to outscore everybody and we're going to play some defense. And I've been saying that for weeks and months now, that I think we're going to be probably the most explosive or one of the top three in the league. And I think they want to put numbers up to be able to help the defense play better and faster and execute better because we have a lead. And I think the mindset going into the draft was to get Ben everything that he felt like he needed first. And I think that's kind of what happened.
But brother, you remember me on day 2 of the draft, right? On day 2 of the draft, we're behind the scenes, and I stopped. And I think it was Sean Sierra who was hanging out with us. And I said, boys, don't be surprised if they go offense in round 2. Don't be surprised. And everyone's like, no, they got to get that. You know, we're probably going to get.
We had to get a safety.
Well, no, in round 2.
After that,
round 1, the safety had to happen. There was no because they got rid of both the safeties. Like the safety kind of had to happen. So I'm with it. Real talk. I still think if Akeem Mesidor had dropped, they probably would have pulled the trigger there. But I'm happy with the Colts with the Thieneman pick. But second round, everybody, even me initially, I'm like, there's still some decent edge rushers out there that they could get, but I don't really like them all that much. The guy that I like is much further back, so I think they're probably gonna go all offense. And when he did, I was like, see, bro, he went into remember my Debo comment? It was like, hey, we coming in. Ben Johnson came into the draft room, was like, hey, kid, that's a nice bike. And
give me my bike.
Give me that bike, right? Like, anyhow, he was clearly the loudest voice in that room. He took over the whole situation, and here we are. But like I say, in my opinion, I think I think across the board almost, they created needs, including at the safety position, that really had to be addressed. 2 of those needs are let's just trick teams with these 2 additional players and see what we can do. And Ben's one of them guys who clearly has an idea and knows what he can do with those 2 players. And that's what excites me.
Kedz, I think Poe deserves a lot of credit for being able to humble himself and let this thing play out the way the coach designs. The coach is. How they have this design, because the ego can really narcissism, ego can get in the way of human beings every day being able to function, the right way and getting the right results. Because of your ego and narcissism, you can F yourself over real quick, man, because if you think that your way is always the best way at all times, you're probably kind of a flawed human. I ain't gonna say probably, you are. You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to listen and kind of take in what somebody else, especially when you're not operating from a standpoint where you're checking all the boxes during the game. The coach is doing that. And so at some point, you need to be able to say, you know what, coach, you know best. We're going to get you the team that you're looking for. And shout out to Ryan Poles and kudos to him for knowing this is what this needed to be.
I'm going to let you do that without much challenge. I can't really give him any props for this, but I feel free to do it. The reason for me is just, in my opinion, I feel that Ben Johnson coming to the table had all the ability to say, "Hey, yeah, I want another GM." But the fact that he didn't do that and rode with Ryan as far as we are here today, does give him a little bit of additional stroke in that room, a little bit of a louder voice in that room.
Stroking.
You know what I'm saying?
I think here's the thing, man. I think the effed up way of thinking about this is who's a more powerful person, who has this. I think that's an effed up way of looking at it, instead of looking at this in a level playing area and saying, hey, let's do what we got to do for this team to get over the top, and let's get some championships. If that means, and it's simple, I'm a general manager. This guy coaches football, and he knows football players. I know football players too, but he's the one that has to coach them. And simply put, you should defer to that coach. And you should get credit for not letting your ego and your mind override what you can see. Just let the man have it. It's not about, oh, I'm more powerful than this guy, or this guy's more powerful than the next guy. It's not that. I don't give a shit who's more powerful in that room. All I give a shit is what comes out of it. That's all I care about.
Speaking of power, what kind of contractual stipulations do you think Ben Johnson has about personnel?
What do you mean by that? You got to explain that one a little more.
Does he Ryan Poles is a general manager, yeah, but Ben Johnson as head coach and de facto offensive coordinator, making $15 million a year. Does he come into the Bears organization and is like, okay, Ryan Poles is here. I'm gonna not politic to have him replaced, and I'm gonna let him pick all my players? Or does he like, hey, in my contract, I get to say, I get this many picks per draft, or I get to choose this guy or that guy? How does that work, contractually with, head coaches wanting some sort of roster autonomy?
You know what? I thought you was going a totally different place. I'm gonna tell you what I thought you were going. I thought you was gonna go like, how much juice does he have in the negotiation on how much players get? No, you're talking about, private stipulations and, okay, oh, wow, that's deep. That's one thing we won't ever know unless that comes out in some podcast somewhere, freaking years down the road. But who knows? Because none of that stuff is whoever puts out what kind of stipulations are in a coach's contract. You ever heard a story about that?
That will never be
GM.
public, my friend.
Or GM, but it does happen.
No, brother, that's kind of what you were going right down the path that I was going towards, right? Absolutely, it does happen. And this is why I said right off the bat, when Ben gets signed up and they stop and they go, hey, look, we're going to give you X amount of money. Like, do you want to work with the existing structure, or do you want a different structure behind you from a general management perspective? And he decides to roll with Ryan Poles, just politically. Ryan Poles is kind of indebted to Ben Johnson, so he wants to appease Ben Johnson. He wants
again, man.
So say what?
Talking about he's indebted.
Yeah, because he let him keep his job.
Did you not just hear what I just said?
I heard what you just said. I don't know about that. I don't like that. But go ahead.
I'm not saying that you should like it. I'm just saying that it's very likely to be the case. Right? If you're coming into a brand new head coach to this situation with a GM who's coming off of a 5-win season and a 3-win season, he's somewhat on the hot seat, right? Like just a little bit. They have the opportunity, and if you recall, they didn't re-sign Ryan until afterwards, right? So quite technically, Ben Johnson coming into the door, he has the stroke to say, yeah, you know what? I'm not coming here unless I get a new GM. It's like a different brass behind me from a GM perspective. I want Ryan to stick with me. I'm going to work with Ryan. I like the relationship that me and Ryan have thus far. Let's continue this thing. Ryan is somewhat indebted to Ben, in my opinion. And that's the way that I see it. Ben let him keep his job.
And I think you can probably see it another way too. And I keep hearing this every time they talk about each other. And I know it's kind of GM coach speak, but I think it's kind of real when I hear him talk about it. When I hear both of them talk about we see football the same way, whenever those questions get asked about how do you guys break down these players and all this kind of stuff, I think that's what won with Ben. I think if they had went into this draft and things didn't work out and they saw football completely different, I think we'd have came out with different results. I think we'd have saw friction.
Well,
something, but they did not, kids. They did not. I do think if you're gonna be Ben Johnson and walk into this situation and not be heavy-handed and just come out and unilaterally just say, I want another GM. I'm not even gonna consider this guy because he's not my guy. You can take that mindset, and that's ego shit going on right there. You know what? He didn't do that. He said that he wanted to come in here and see what this guy can bring to the table, see if we can identify this shit together, and see if we can work together. And guess what? They were able to. And I think they like working together. And so it's working very well. And it really has nothing to do with power dynamics at that point to me. Really, it's about that goddamn bear head at that point in that seat. And I think they both understand.
Well, I
Oh, he dropped all the way off.
Yeah, he never does that.
Right.
Hold on, let me shuffle us back up. There he goes.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Booted myself right out of the damn studio. But look,
probably about to lie.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying, there's coming into a role like that. There's definitely some level of power dynamics that come into play because they're going to offer you. They're going to say, hey, look, like we're giving you X amount of millions of dollars. Do you want to work with this guy or not? Because if you don't, and we're giving you this kind of money and it doesn't work out, you're going to want him gone. So this is up to you. And I'm really glad that things are working. And I think things are working part and parcel to, just the fact that Ben has been allowed to have that larger voice in that room, right? He's really been able to construct and help put this team together right alongside Ryan.
Does Ryan Poles select Colston Loveland?
I don't think so. Right? Like I don't say it again, Trip.
I said, does Ryan Poles select Colston Loveland when he did without Ben Johnson?
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
Right? Like I think these are Colston, Sam, Xavion. I think they're
now Burton. I could see Poles saying, "Hey, this guy's available. We're taking him."
Well, in that scenario, because the running backs of choice were gone, I agree with that as well. But all in all, I think these are all. I think a lot of this stuff that we've seen over the last 2 years has Ben's fingerprints all over it, and I'm not mad at that. I think that's a great way to work because now the likelihood that there's going to be, like I'm just going to call it Ryan Pace shit going on is super slim. There's a doubtful situation where. Ryan Poles goes out on a limb and drafts somebody that Ben has no clue about or understanding or want thereof. It's just not going to go down. So I like the dynamic that's in place here today. I think it's working. And under the same pretenses, though, I do think there is a bit of a power structure that truly incorporates Ben Johnson. I think that's in place.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you guys something, just in case y'all. I think y'all know it because we've been talking about this stuff for years now. But there's a side of NFL organization dynamics that is all GM and has to be operated with the GM, and that is, media, all the stuff that a GM has to do. But why a GM is selected, the nuts and bolts of it, the bulk of it is player personnel. How is your decision making there? Talking about your college personnel scouts, talking about your pro personnel scouts. There's two different departments here. And so they got guys that are running around all over the country looking at every college player in the nation, guys all over the world for that matter. And then you got the pro personnel guys that are managing, looking at other people's rosters and seeing who's going to come free and seeing what guy can come and help this team and what he might cost. And there's a certain thing that a GM gets paid for, should be spoken to. That happens behind closed doors. That's the shit that the coach doesn't have time to do. He's immersed in the season, making decisions and keeping his team going where it needs to be going. In the background, that kind of thing is going on. Hey, Ryan, let me talk to you. Come on down to the office, or you come up to my office. But however that works, hey, at some point we might need to consider making a trade. And I'm going to tell you why. This is Ben Johnson talking to Ryan Poles. I think if we can get our hands on this player, we might have to sacrifice this pick and this player for whatever reason. But I think at a certain point, if we get to midpoint of the season and we have this record, I think this guy can put us over the top. You sure about that? Okay, let's look at him together. You know the player, right? And then now he's got to go to the owner and say, hey, this is what Ben wants to do. You agree, Ryan? Yeah, I think he's right. I don't know if it's going to help us, 5 years down the road, but I think for right now, if we want to get a ring, we should do that. All right, let's bring Cliff in. Let's look at the numbers and crunch them. Go through all that kind of stuff. Ben Johnson is going back to the field and coaching his team. Now we got to come up with a decision, yeah or nay. The answer should be yeah. If it's no, it better be a damn good reason why. Right? And so now they come and bring Ben in the room, and they're all together. Okay, we're going to execute this move, and this is what we're going to offer. Okay, as long as we can go, Ben Johnson be like, as long as we can go after him, I'm good. You guys handle all the negotiation. I just know this guy can get us over the top. And then they go in, and the GM gets paid for what the GM does. That's the kind of thing, that's a healthy relationship to me. The way I see the game and the way it should be acted out is that guy that's coaching the team should have the largest voice. Period. And, the blame that comes with it too. That's just my theory.
Yeah, I got nothing more on that. At the end of the day, I think he does have the largest voice, and I like him being as loud as he is. Question is, will it pay off? I think we're about to see. We're about to find out.
All right. I got one more question for you guys before we get out of here. And this should be an easy one, but maybe not so much. I'm gonna give it to you just the way I thought about it. Are the Bears the legitimate NFC North favorites, or are we early?
Yes, favorites.
Well,
And I say that because looking at the division, you got the Packers, who are basically all in, and they found out that their defensive trade target Micah Parsons is going to be out for half of the season. And Jordan Love is Austin Booker's boo boo. So you got that going. Then we don't know what the hell's going on in Minnesota. Who's the quarterback? Is it Kyler? Is it JJ? What the hell they doing? We don't know. And Detroit is, come on, they're the kiddies. They're going to Detroit. So, right now, this roster, the coaching and the direction in this division, the Bears are clearly, going the right way where other teams are not.
I can go if you want to think about it, kids, or you can go too. Don't matter.
No, you go ahead, man. You go.
Trips had me. He had me at damn near hello, but look here, man. I don't know about clearly. That's the only word you got me twisted with. I'm gonna tell you why. Because as bad as Detroit beat us the first time around, I'm giving this as some nuance. Yeah, we were early into Ben Johnson being with the Bears and you got to put an ass whooping on Detroit, number one, before you convince me. You got to put an ass whooping on them, like a thorough one. I do think we have Green Bay's number. I do think we'll beat Minnesota because I think that's going to be more of a test. That's going to be more of a test of how well that offense is functioning with this new quarterback. I said that before, but I don't think it's such a runaway because Detroit is the nemesis right now. That's the team that I worry about the most. They're gonna have to put an ass whooping on Detroit to really convince me that they're the front runners, and we don't see them until I think it's the schedule out.
Yeah, they're not.
And we don't see them until a little bit later in the season.
Man, you two guys, man.
Huh?
What's that?
Making you think that's why we're great.
No, it's not really a think thing. Like my thoughts is that you guys are glass half full guys, and I'm clearly a glass half empty guy, I guess, because I don't know. I ain't seen none of this shit. So all I can say is I do believe we're early. I believe we're one year early. I think in 20, and I've been, boys, I've been saying this for almost 3 years now. I think 2027 Bears Super Bowl lock. Like that's knocking hard right now. That's
empty
where
calories, empty calories. Did that season make you a believer or not?
What, this past season? Like what's funny is like earlier in this conversation, earlier today, you were like, forget last season. But like we'll go back to last season and I'll say I believe
there's some things that happened last year.
Well, fair enough.
You can hang on to, but there's some things
fair enough.
That's when the personnel is different.
I'm just gonna say that I'm a believer in the Bears offense this season. I think grand offensive things are gonna happen. And I'm also gonna say that these are things that real talk Bears fans have been waiting 40 plus years for. We haven't seen Bears offense like I think we're about to see it. I think we got a little taste of it in 2018. But I think we're about to see it on another level. And I'm super stoked. But I can't my belief in this particular defense is waning. And it's something that I have to actually see to believe, because what I saw last season, number one, is not repeatable. Can't repeat that shit. Them takeaways are gone. So we got to rely on something else has to be going on defensively. So I have to see this. I'm yet to see this.
Well, kids, let me tell you, let me break some news to you, man. And this might give you another perspective on how you thinking of this shit. So when you're your defense, you're new to this thing, and you're just getting, you got personnel out there, but that's not all the personnel that you want. That's personnel that was there. So you got this part of the call sheet, right? That you're just trying to hang in there with. These calls is a long list of that freaking Denny's list of stuff that you're just trying to hang in there. I know this stuff will keep me in the game, will keep us functioning. And then you got a hot ass Denny's freaking sheet that I can really, this is my bag right here. I can really get down, and the difference between that defense he just inherited and players that he got, as opposed to what he's got going on couple that with what the offense just added to it, which we know is going to be explosive. Think about that in that context. He's just trying to hang on last year with that part of the plan. That Denny sheet he had, he didn't really dial up the shit that he needed until late in the season, when sometimes those games were good. Those defensive performances were good. That's later in the season when the shit got, everybody got accustomed to the stuff. And so I don't think he's going to be the same defensive coordinator.
My comments have very little to do with Dennis Allen.
Well, he's a defensive coordinator.
I know. And my comments have just about everything to do with the actual personnel makeup of this defense, of this defensive roster. I'm just being straight up and down. I'm not sure if we are where DA really wants them to be yet from a DA perspective, given the personnel. I think we're 1 year out of having the personnel that DA really needs to be lights out on defense from a coordinator perspective. So again, it's not really me talking about DA as a coordinator. It's got everything to do with personnel.
Okay, let me ask you, when, just off the top of your head, kids, when was the last time you seen a team win a Super Bowl and their defense wasn't lights out?
It's been a minute, bro. Been a minute.
I'll just say the Rams. Defense wasn't lights out.
What are you talking about? And so Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, 10 sack season for Leonard
Aaron
Floyd.
Donald
wasn't a good defense,
player, but that defense was not lights out.
Wow,
it wasn't.
What's fair to say right now is, even if you're 1,000,000,000% correct, even if you are, would you say that defense was leaps and bounds better than what we have from a personnel perspective today?
No.
What the Bears are fielding?
No, absolutely not.
Wild statements.
I'm gonna tell you, they had a bunch of Jimmys and Joes around, a couple of good, really great players. One great player, but a whole bunch of good ones around that. And then,
brother, they had Jalen Ramsey. I'm just gonna name 3.
I said a couple of great players, bro.
Yeah, they had Jalen Ramsey, they had Aaron Donald, and they had Leonard Floyd, who wasn't quote unquote a great player, but played great in that season.
Bunch of Jimmys and Joes.
Okay,
they were not a great defense.
All right,
they were okay defense, but better offense.
Yes.
No, they were much better offense, and I think they were at the very like that's a good question. They're probably a top 15 defense that season. Let's see. What year was that? 2020?
I don't know. Shit. I just one that came off the top of my head. I remember that season. You looking at numbers? Man, you know,
I'm just trying to get an understanding. You're saying they're Jimmys and Joes.
There's a lot of
we were bottom 28 defense last year.
Okay.
If we're middle of the pack defense this year, I think we can win the Super Bowl as well. If our offense takes a leap, I believe that it takes. My question is, where was the Rams in that case scenario in that season? I think they're much higher up from a defensive perspective than you're giving them credit for.
I think you can think of some plays. I think you can think of some players and some. They were not a defense that was going to shut you out. They were going to outscore you.
Oh, I think that was the given, and I think that's what we're trying to do this year too. But you still got to be able to, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to do the job, man.
And be able to stop here and there.
There's a year or two when the Chiefs didn't have lights out defense. They've gotten better, you know. The last time I can remember them winning one, they had studs on every level, whether it was a linebacker, defensive lineman, or one of the couple of guys in the secondary. They were lights out at positions at every level of the defense. They had stars. And so that's different. But there's times that they won it and they didn't have that shit at all. They had a bunch of young rookies, second-year players that played like dogs, and they got one. So that's what I'm trying to say, kids. You don't have to have a lights out defense. It's nice to have one, but when you don't have one, you can make up for it.
You know, so Kedz, the old adage of offense wins games, but defense wins championships isn't necessarily the pathway.
Not all the time.
All right. So I'm like, what's crazy? So I found it. I'm like bang on. So we just need to be middle of the road. They're middle of the road, and they let the offense take care of business. All right, they're like 16th. So you ain't wrong to say that they had a great defense that season. but it's definitely better than, bottom 5 defense. I think we need to be a heck of a lot closer to the middle of the road this time around to really get the job done. That's all I'm saying.
I think we will be. That's my point. I think we will be.
I have no evidence to say that we will.
What'd you say, Trip?
TBD, to be determined.
Yeah, to be determined.
Yeah, I got confidence in what I've seen. It is on paper right now. You guys are right. It is on paper, and it's what we expect and what we prognosticate things to be. But I do have confidence in what I've seen.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just being as real as I can be in saying I don't have evidence for this. There's no historical evidence to back this up. We have to wait for the season. We have to see where they go and what the actual players do on the field before I can get fully behind it and say, hey, look, here's what they're doing. Because the major facet for me is the takeaways. All right, regardless as to what happened on the line, it's virtually impossible to repeat what they did last year from a takeaway perspective, especially given that the guys who took the ball away are gone. We have to come up with some other way to get to middle of the road. Heck, those takeaways, virtually impossible to repeat.
This is part of the season I love, man. This is kind of a little stretch away from what we're talking about, but I don't know if you ever handled a pack of puppies. Like
handled a what?
Pack of puppies. Like you ever had a bunch of puppies? Now, if you're not a dog person, you probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I'm gonna give you a good example.
Okay.
Or just a bunch of kids. You had to keep son, daughter, and all their cousins. You got them all together, and they all down in the basement or in the living room, doing their thing. They duking it out, and you see personality. I'm talking about small kids. You see personality starting to develop in there, right? Same thing with puppies. Same thing with, to me, a new team. A team every year is new, especially when you have this many new faces to add to the mix. To me, it's like dumping a bunch of puppies into an open space and letting them figure this shit out, which is why I think we're talking about what we're saying. Let them get into camp. Let them put them pads on. Let's see how these puppies, come out. We can say this about this guy. We can say that about that guy. From what I'm hearing, we'll know that it sounds like we need a this or that. I think we need to let this shit play out, but it's fun watching the process play out and thinking about it. To me, me being a guy like I am, I love this part of the season where I can, think about some of this stuff.
Well, I like the actual season better. I'll just be real. You know what I mean? Because I need to. Speculation is like 7 months out. 7 months out the year when the season's done, and we speculate to high heaven, and it's fun. But damn it, I just want to see what it actually looks like in reality, because I can only speculate so much without historical evidence. And my beef here is truly the fact that they've really rearranged this team as far as the secondary is concerned, and the secondary was the strength, right? There's a lot of rearrangement in that back seven, and not enough, in my opinion, done to the front seven. So that leads me thinking, I don't know what happens with this defense. I can only speculate, and I don't want to do that. So let's see what it looks like when we get there.
I tell you what, man, we're at the 3-hour mark almost, man. Let's just any last thoughts about anything we talked about? You got a point you want to make, or
did you want to finish at 3 or a little bit after?
Well, we depends on what you want to do, man.
Because there's a video I want to share. It's 1 minute and 25 seconds.
Of what?
And then I want to hear thoughts after.
What you got?
Brandon Marshall.
Oh. Whose video is?
You remember him, the wide receiver?
Do we need to watch the video, or do we need to listen to it?
Number 15.
No, I mean it's not here. Just look. I mean it's not copywritten or nothing. It's just him being Brandon Marshall, and he's in his car, and the kid you see There in the screen is his son. Now I'm going to play the video and then reactions afterwards. It's 1:25. There's no music or nothing, so no worries. Let's go full screen and let's go. Oh, wait. Gotta take it off mute. My bad. All right, there we go. Here we go.
It's no different than when we were in LA, Santa Monica, running at midnight on the pier. We wanted to do that. We love to do that. And then there's correction, then there's discipline. You're walking, run. Discipline correction is good. Even 2 in the morning, we run. I don't got to put my hands on you. But I'm training you up to be a warrior. I'm training you to be a leader, to serve, to have discipline.
I think we get the point.
Be better than me. Run. Let's go. If you don't start running, we're going to go 3 miles. So you better start running because you don't know what.
Put it on pause, Trip. We get the point.
Well, I mean, it's almost over.
You don't want to listen? We run. We work. 2 in the morning. Let's go faster. I'm driving 3 miles per hour. You should be going at 8 or 9 miles per hour right now. Go. If this truck don't get to 9 miles per hour, I promise you we're going all the way to the gas station, which is 3 miles. Down and back is 3 miles. I'm at 4 miles.
All right, that's enough.
I'm at 5. I'm at 6. There we go. Now we're moving. Run.
Pause this shit.
Discipline.
Well, it's over now.
That's how you gonna learn it.
Now he's getting reaction that some people are like, that's child abuse. And it's like, well, obviously y'all ain't got no children's. Because that is not child abuse, in my opinion. Now, Nomad, I mean, I ain't got no kids, but kids as a parent, do you think that's child abuse?
Wait a minute.
Wait.
That's why I wish you would say something to me beforehand.
What?
Because I would have been better prepared to respond to that.
Well, I mean, what? We plan for shows now?
Well, you gotta. Okay, let's just keep going. No, I don't have no problem with that. But I can see in the world that we live in why people would take that to the nth degree.
I got to do it. Just give me a second here. Just a second.
I mean, but he's running. He's telling him why he's running them.
That's because people are.
So F capital T, soft.
Yeah, had to do it. So I was at the. So like I told y'all, my son and daughter took me out to eat. We were at the mall, walking around and stuff too. And let me tell you, man, everybody else had their kids out there with them, doing the Father's Day thing. And what I can tell you is, man, there's some disrespectful ass kids out there, y'all. You understand? Some disrespectful kids. And some of y'all need to discipline your kids. I don't tell you how to do it, but some of y'all need to discipline your kids. Just saying. I saw a lot of tantrums out there on Father's Day. Kids don't give a damn. And that's disrespectful. Anyhow, directly to Brandon Marshall. There's also the fact that Brandon Marshall a little bit bipolar. So maybe he's in the wrong. Maybe he didn't have his mindset the right way. Now I'm gonna go a little bit deep into parenting and say I don't know what that kid did in the first place. That's not on the footage. Maybe he did some stuff and really deserved to be punished. And if that's a punishment that his dad decided to give him, his dad is in full range of rights. Like, he's not putting his hands on him. He's not hurting the child. It's just straight up discipline. And if you are against the discipline, against disciplining your children, they will walk all over your ass. And that's all I got to say about it.
I will say this, just to Trips, we don't do no more than without we talk. We got to talk about them. But I like.
So you bring up bullshit questions all the fucking time. I bring up.
Hold on, man. God, Lee, why you got to fly off the handle? Hold on, I'm trying to give you some credit. Jesus, I like the video, but it brings up an interesting thought to me. Because of how I was raised. I was raised in a way that it's It's about tough love.
Did you get spankings or no?
I got my ass tore off
Oh, you got whoopings.
on a regular.
Had to go get your own switches.
I'm thankful for them. I'm glad you brought it up for this reason.
But now, would that would be considered child abuse though nowadays, right?
And that's the problem. That's where I'm going. Who's making the standards? That's the problem. It's not the discipline, how the discipline comes about. Sometimes shit is abuse, and you have to just call it for what it is. It's fucking abuse. But then there's other times where, you got splits in cultures, right? You got this section of people over here that do it this way. You got this section of people over here that does it that way. And you got this people over here that does it this way or doesn't do it at all. But they want to point the fucking finger at everybody else because they got footprints all over their fucking face. And little Johnny is telling them what the fuck to do in their household.
And what are the team takeovers? Where you got a bunch of kids with no discipline, just willy-nilly doing shit. I don't think Nomad, the way he was raised, he wouldn't be out there doing that shit. I had to go out and get my own switches. I wouldn't be out there doing that because we had discipline. And I don't think that Shorty Marshall here is going to be one of those kids out there just all willy-nilly, robbing, stealing, or whatever the hell they doing because of the discipline and the way it's instilled, as opposed to, well, I'll just hug him and tell him I love him. And then, in a few years, he's going to be like, yeah, fuck you, ma. And, all of that lack of respect thing. So it's just weird that there are no guidelines. This is how you raise a kid. This is the only way. This is the right way. It's up to, parental discretion and how, we were raised. Now, you can't answer this, Nomad, but when you do have kids, how will you discipline them? You don't know until you actually get there. But I'm confident that you will instill discipline, without beating them.
What's the difference? Like, if somebody says the word corporal punishment, what does that mean to you?
Spanking?
What does that mean to you, kids?
Corporal punishment?
Yeah.
Corporal.
I don't know what that means to me. Like, real talk, I thought that was like
it's physicality, right?
Okay, all right.
I'm asking you. I'm not telling you.
I'm not really familiar with that as a term. So there's that. I'm familiar with whoopings, beatings, those things I'm definitely familiar with because got both of those for sure.
Now, did you beat your kid or spank your kids?
No, you can ask me and I'll answer this. So I did my damnedest not to. Mind you, I'm a different guy. So what I learned with my girl and my sister is you don't need to necessarily beat girls at all. You don't. My mom with my sister never beat, and it made me mad because I got all the beatings. All the beatings in the building. And with my sister, my mom would just hit the wall. And it would my sister would be so shook and afraid of the sound and the violence against the wall that she never required a beating. Me personally, I got my ass whooped all the time. So when I kind of clued into what was going on at the house, I'm like, this is bullshit. Why is it that I'm always getting whooped and you hit the wall and that's it for her? You never put your hands on her. I'm being abused. And my mom looked at me and she was like, you need every one of these beatings, by the way. And your sister doesn't. Look at her. She's in line. That's all. That is the level of violence that I need to exact. So my daughter, I never had to put my hands on her. My son, I beat him once and he deserved it. And he'll tell you about it. Straight up.
Close, can I tell you a story? I'll tell both of you guys this story. Something I never shared on the show. But I got asked to run a culture and ethnicity training. I did it for a long time. And I was underqualified. It was supposed to be run by somebody with at least a bachelor's degree. I don't have a degree. You know what? Somebody thought enough of me to tell me, and they made me do it in order to get this job, but I was willing to do it. Write a paper or a thesis on that you're talking about. Punishment. And I think I called it salt and sugar or something, sugar and salt, something. I can't remember what I titled it, but I'll explain to you what it was in a nutshell. It's basically when you get to that part of what I wrote, when it comes to punishment, and I do believe, and I said this in the paper, that I do believe fear is an important aspect of rearing a child. There should be a fear factor there. But if there's only a fear factor there, it's just a beating for no reason. You did wrong, pow, 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 pow. You have to have structure behind it and reasoning. So where the sugar comes in, that is explanation and guidance after that. If it's just a beating because you're upset with them, it can definitely go the wrong way. And that child will view you in a certain way because that's how you did it. And so I'm giving you a screenshot of what I said in that paper, which was probably about 17, 18 pages worth of stuff. But I explained that part of why I believe fear is an important part of rearing a child, or you end up that parent with fucking footprints all over your fucking face.
It's better to be feared than loved. And like Ice Cold Magician, he said he got the belt. My mom used sandals on me. The chanclas. Threw them across the room. It's like, protect your neck.
Most important part of that ain't the whooping. It's the structure that comes after it.
Well, because there's always got to be that. All right. When I always got it, I knew why I did it because I was a little badass kid, believe it or not. Why you got to agree with me, kids? You could have said
no, because I was a little badass kid too, man. So I'm right there with you, bro.
So it was like I knew why I was getting it, but then it was always explained. You fucked up, right? And here's how you fucked up. Now you're gonna take this beating, and then afterwards, don't fuck up no more. And then I wouldn't do that thing. I would just fuck something else up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Trip became Trip.
This is that
the story. Because I remember we were talking about CTE, and I distinctly remember up until I was like 9 or 10 years old, I would bang my head against the wall just because it made me dizzy.
Well, that's that is how we got here, Trip. That's exactly how we got here. But look, like I say, I got all the beatings for the building. I was the example. I was the first child, so I got all the beatings for the building. Both my sisters will clearly adhere to this. I could count how many times my sisters got beat on one hand. I guarantee you. Me on the other hand, I got beat by both parents. I got beat all the time. Forget about it. And real talk, there is maybe 2 of those beatings that I can actually remember and scar me for life. I'm not any different of a person. I'm just a much more disciplined person than I would have been if I didn't get those beatings. And under the same time, it did foster a level of respect via fear for my parents. And I think that's important. I think it's very important. And why I really didn't have to beat mine is because all I had to do, and it was funny because we're walking through the store today and there's kids just crying and screaming and throwing tantrums. And I was like, man, you know what I used to do to y'all? And they're both like, yep. It's like, I was like, okay. I would just grab them by the face or the ear and whisper in your ear, you know you're going to get your ass whipped when you get home, right? That's all I had to do 90% of the time. And they're like, uh-oh.
I tell you exactly, my whole shit changed, and I'm talking about the fear and the structure that came behind it in the first grade. In the first grade. I heard before I even got into grade school, I'm around a bunch of physical MFers, and that's how we dealt with shit. Well, we fighting, I mean, even in the first grade, I was fighting, and here I was being told you keep your hands to yourself. And that's that,
Mm-hmm.
Go to school, you still got the same habits. Somebody says a little something out of line, you didn't like it. You probably said something that you made somebody laugh or something. And I teed off on somebody in the first grade. Got in trouble, got sent home. Got my ass wore to the nub. I mean, wore down.
Mama, stop.
And right after that, were the flashcards. All the flashcards, and you go to school to learn, boy. That's what we send you to school for. You're gonna learn this information. The flashcards came.
Oh.
And so that's what I mean by the discipline was one thing, getting the ass whooping. I never forget that ass whooping, but more importantly was this is behind that. This is what you go to school for. You keep your goddamn hands to yourself unless you need to defend yourself. You don't put your hands on nobody.
It's so
learn.
What's real funny about what you're describing is like, first off, I got the exact opposite because my daddy was like, straight up, you whoop ass if you gotta whoop ass at the school.
Everybody learned. Every little black kid has to learn that.
I'm just saying that
if somebody puts their hands on you, that's different.
Right.
Hey man, that was the lesson. That was the lesson. Don't be going out there starting shit. But if shit started, you finish it, and here's how. You know what I mean? So I got the other side of that. Now, to touch on sort of the back end of what you're describing, with my kids and raising them initially, again, because like obviously you don't just haul off and whoop ass for no good reason. So I'd come up with different ways to discipline my kids over time. And one of them was just writing lines, right? Just, hey man, you sit down and you write, here's what you did. I want you to write what you did 50 times on this piece of paper. You're gonna come back, show me the piece of paper. Then you're gonna on the other side, you're gonna write 50 times what you should have done. And when I'm satisfied with you finishing writing, I may let you stop writing. You know what I mean? And what I kind of realized real quick was like, I'm kind of like, I thought it was smart at first, and over time I was like, damn, like I'm kind of teaching my kids not to be studious, to hate being studious by doing this. So I kind of stopped doing that. I made them do other things, but I was like, like you were saying with the flashcards, you're getting into it, and they probably make you do math or whatever as a disciplinary thing. I can see how you might be like, I hate math. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate the damn flashcards.
It just redirected my mind. It was the goal, and it worked.
Well, what I'm telling you is like, and it was very specifically with Styles. It was like, I might be pushing him into a situation where he does not like school.
I'm in. Remember, I just got my ass wore to a motherfucking nub.
Yeah,
and I'm ready for anything that ain't that ass whooping.
I don't know if you all's parents are like, oh, you gonna remember this ass whooping when you sit down tomorrow, and then tomorrow when you went to class and those hard ass wood chairs, it's like, oh Lord.
Shit, I'm so happy to see them fucking flashcards.
I tried my damnedest not to do any of that because obviously I was not a big fan of that when it happened to me. So you know what I'm saying? Like, right. Because it happened to me, it was like, look, I let me be creative with this discipline. Let me, you messed around, you touched something you shouldn't have touched, sit on your hands, sit on the stairs, and you ain't getting up off your hands until I tell you. You know what I mean? All kinds of creative stuff. But one of them was doing lines, and another one was like doing excess homework. Here's a book. You're gonna do this homework. You're gonna do this. This is my homework. I'm gonna assign it to you. You're gonna do this work. And then I stopped and I was like, damn, like I might be ruining somebody who has, educational aspirations and making them hate education. So
you know what else though I noticed about that video that y'all probably didn't pay attention to? Did you see all the nice ass houses out there?
Well, yeah, they live in the burbs.
Well, you don't want to be running your kid at 2 a.m. in the projects.
What kind of kids come out of there, right?
In the burbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ain't fucking nice, good kids.
No, they're spoiled as kids.
Yeah, that's where that's coming from. I think he's like, no, you ain't finna be one of these motherfuckers.
Well, that's what the kid, he goes to school, his peers, are those suburban kids. And he might, come home with some of that bullshit. And Brandon was like, oh, hell no.
He got all the snacks and eating all them little donuts and cakes. He got everything. Just I can think back on my childhood and I just see some of these suburban kids, which I got to meet when I was a child, and I'm like, well, you can eat this anytime you want to. You got cakes and cookies and all this good, man. Shit, I ain't seen none of that shit. I mean, maybe once in a while.
Shit, y'all balling up in here.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And I think that part of Brandon Marshall kicked in. No, I ain't gonna let my kid be soft like this.
Well, but that the thing that Kedz mentioned is like I've learned, from getting those beatings, and my son, he had to like whoop him twice. And it was, he did that shit. And, but I have been more aware as like, well, I'm not just gonna hit you punitively. And it seems as though Brandon Marshall's the same way. It's like the discipline that he instilled is different than timeout, or different than, you don't get your cell phone or your tablet or your computer for an hour or a day or whatever. It's like, no, it's physical. And during that time, the way he was talking to him as a father, but it was also like a coach. It's like, oh yeah, you're gonna run these sprints, because you kept getting penalties in the game. We're not gonna hurt our team by doing this. What you did wrong and how you fix it and the positivity by it while you're still running. So it's like a coaching kind of aspect as well, but it's gonna hopefully build the kid mentally, and while he's running and not thinking about running, his body's getting stronger.
Hey, Trips, I can just imagine that little boy, Brandon's son, coming to the house and said, "Hey, you know what? Robbie's mom lets him do this." And Brandon, motherfucker, do I look like Robbie's mom to you?
Right? Word for word.
This is my house.
If Robbie, if his kids want to jump off a bridge, you gonna jump off a bridge too?
No, man. You just say, hey, guess what? You keep running your mouth. We running 2 more tomorrow night. Run your mouth. I'll run your ass. You run your mouth. Right.
Like, King Ron Jeremy, my parents made me kneel down and hold 2 heavy books, out to the side, balance when you got in trouble. And it's like, don't drop them.
That sure worked for Ron, eh? Now he's touching all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And oh man, but look, that's it, man. You just have to be a little bit creative with that stuff. I don't fault Brandon for a minute, and I heavily suggest that parents actually parent their kids. There's too many parents who don't. Too many parents who just let kids just run wild out there in the world and wonder why they running wild in the world.
Yeah. I let everybody know I beat the dirt off your kid if he get out of line around me, and they know it.
Oh, don't.
Well,
that's a whole other story.
That's a whole different video.
That's a whole other story.
I done beat their ass right in front of them.
You need to be careful. It's like it all depends, man. It all
just be putting your hand on other people's children.
I only did it like twice, maybe. I mean,
unless you know them like that.
You beat somebody else's child twice. Oh,
well, no, because back in the day, if I was a short over somebody else's house, and I did something, those parents wouldn't always spank me or discipline me, but they would call home and be like, "Hey, you know what this little fool did?" And then I get an ass whooping when I get home.
That's different.
But if I was at a family member's or a friend's house that was close like that, then like family, then they would discipline me, but not like that, not like a parent would.
I'm not so young, so I don't remember. Somebody will fuck you up down the street. Somebody mama will fuck you up and take you home, and you get fucked up again
twice
for just getting wild out your mouth, just coming out your mouth. From what you just say, boy, pap, 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 pap.
Be out there embarrassing me.
Take you home, and hey, Miss Nomad, you know what I heard him say? What did he say? Tell him, pap, 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 you getting your ass whooped again. That's the era I came from. I'm the last of a dying breed, bro. That's exactly how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Get your ass.
I'm quite pleased that I'm pleased to say I ain't never gone out the street had somebody else's mama whoop my ass. I'm just saying I'm
probably was a more respectful child. I was
I'd
just
like to think so, maybe.
My
But
mouth was a little fly. You know, I might have got caught saying some shit.
Quick catch, quick backhand.
Yeah, pop. Yeah, come on. You going home to your mama.
I'm trying to think.
And
I
then
don't
come
think
home
that's
with a
ever.
fat lip. I mean, why your lip all fat? Tell her what you said.
I'm just saying, my mom is the type that will find that lady or whoever that is and whoop their ass in the street.
Oh, they gotta know.
I'm just saying straight up or down.
What I'm pointing at, kids, is there was a time in our community where there's more community.
Right. The neighborhood was family.
Yeah,
takes a village.
Right now, everybody's so individual and isolated. I came up in the same time when I can remember my mother be like, "What?" She put her fucking hair in a bun, take a ring off, all that kind of shit, put some Vaseline on her face, and she ready to whoop a female ass.
That's what I'm saying.
Like for putting their hands on me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that would never, not with my mama, man. That would never go down. She would hunt you down like the Terminator and whoop your shit. And I don't care where you're at. I don't care where you would need to be her best friend or real close family for anything like that to ever go down. You know what I mean? And that's just the type of respect that I have for my mama, because she whooped my ass too, and I'd be scared shitless if I was somebody else putting their hands on her.
Yeah, in that era, a black woman take a ring or two, or however many rings she got on her finger, take them off. So I put Vaseline on her face, put her hair in a bun,
take the earrings out.
Yeah, somebody ass about to get mocked.
My mama she didn't rock, like, she had a couple small rings, but she had one ring though. Just like one of the few that she had was like this. It was like this big ass ring. And man, I would not want to be on the other side of that ring, man. That's all I gotta say.
You mean a big ass mood ring, and her mood was always bad?
It was a badass mood she had, because like I caught that ring one time. I was like, damn, she caught me stealing, man. And she was smart.
I'll tell y'all what, man. I'd love to go on for a little while longer, but guess what?
We can bounce.
My girlfriend, I got a feeling she gonna want to see this the premiere of this season of what is that?
What, House of the Dragon?
House of Dragon. And that's really my show, but I got a feeling she wants to see it. And I don't know if they brought the whole show or there's just one episode. I don't know. But she might.
No. They this you know how it is. They're gonna do this weekly. They're gonna do this weekly, yeah, because it's
for the next 6 months.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal.
Oh.
Well, I know that Wednesday, quick reminder before we get out of here. I talked with him earlier, and just a sneak preview, Chef Trips, something about in and out secret menu recipe that he'll be doing Wednesday. So make sure y'all hear on some extra sauce for Chef Trips doing that thing.
So that's gonna be dope. We don't have in and out here in Canada, so I'm all ears to hear what that is.
Right on. And make sure you are subscribed to all 3 networks, as you see on the screen there. Hey, ladies. Sports Chicago style at RRSCS. That's the actual thing on YouTube. And then at Kedz the Canuck. That's a little fella down there with the hat and glasses. And then the Nomad Network. Look at baby kids. Get those Herberts. Get those baby kids Herberts. So all 3 networks, as we have the Bears conversation, as we have other conversations and topics, and a big up for y'all for, parenting and kids topics, but Brandon Marshall. So there is a Bears connection. So, big up to y'all, and I'll check y'all Wednesday.
I know.
Go ahead, kids.
Oh no, I don't have much. My brother basically took care of business, so let me just give a little love to the folks out there in the chat. Ice Cold Magician is with us. Can't wait to see that Ice Cold Magician we have here called the Iceman. That should be awesome. King Ron. Oh, I didn't realize King Ron was in the chat. I'm sorry for throwing shots your way. Mark Wallace, big ups to you. True Pilgrim, big ups to you. WG, what it be? Cornell Bryant, man. Thanks for kicking it with us, Cornell. You were all over the chat today, really holding it down with us. AC Adam was with us. Shad on sports. Same to you, man. Shad, great commentary today. Big ups to King Booker. Big ups to the Scrolls. And rest in peace to your nephew, man. Really sorry to hear about that. That's a situation again. Corny Squalls #2. No Maniac. Big ups to you. Big ups to AC. Big ups to Levante out there, man. Thank you for coming through. King Booker World. Big ups to you as well as Smitty Q, man. Shout outs to you, Smitty. Always good to have you. Drive safe out there. That being said,
Ron Minarski, big up.
Ron Winarski, man, thanks for reading up with us. And who else read up today? Somebody else read up today.
Ron Winarski,
Levante.
Joseph Archer.
And Levante and Joseph. Yeah, big ups to all y'all. Big ups to the Chicago Duke, too, man. Thanks for coming through. Just wanted to make sure all y'all got a little bit of love here tonight.
True Cohen came in late, but big up.
Yeah. So long story short for me, wait and see, man. I can't wait till this training camp starts to ramp up. We get a little bit deeper into that. We'll have a bit of a better understanding as to where things are headed. Oh, shout out to Hill BM, man. Shout out to you
too, man.
What up, Hill?
Just waiting to see what really happens with that and where things will start to make a bit more sense. Big ups to Nomad for sort of putting together some of the looks we took a look at here today. Decent looks. Who knows what happens with any of those players, but it's good to have an understand. Oh, snap. There's one player we didn't touch on, and I'm just going to leave that name here for today, and let's try and look at him next week. His name is Vita Vea. So Vita Vea is actually holding out a little bit where he's at. I think he might be a really cool addition to this front, this defensive line. Anyways,
hold on. Let me keep talking. I'm just gonna write it.
Yeah, man. You just note that for next week, and we'll take a closer look at Vita Vea as a potential possibility. Because one more time, he could provide that interior pressure that we're all looking for. Anyways, big ups to Sports Chicago Style. We're gonna have the chef here on Wednesday. It looks like. Can't wait to see what this in and out business is all about. Give me a little bit of like, share, subscribe, a little bit of love over at Kedz the Canuck. I would appreciate it. Comments, etc. I'll get back at you and do the exact same right here on the Nomad Network with my guy up top. But that being said, man, big ups and big love to all y'all out there. Catch you in a couple of days. Nomad?
Number one, love everybody for loving us on all 3 networks, man. We really appreciate y'all because there's one thing for these 3 guys to have an opinion. There's another thing for people to be receptive to listen to it, receptive to listen to the football. And anything else we're talking about, there's always an audience to listen to it, but specifically the football. And it's just my hope that when you come here and when we do start talking about football and details about the football, and I just hope that you come away, if you want to be informed and if you want to know about certain things, if you want to hear stuff broken down, I hope you come here and you get what you came here for. Because we take some pride in that. It's not all fun, laugh, giggles. No, it takes some work. You got to dig in to know this stuff. And I'd rather be one of those people, and we'd rather be those types of people that probably forgot more football than some of these other people would even know right now. And so we hang our hats on that over here on this channel. Know that ball. Know football. And then everything else springs from there. And so that you're receptive to all the other conversations, but we definitely appreciate you guys. Everybody that got new memberships, everybody that helps out the channel, everybody that supports all 3. We appreciate you guys, and we can't say that enough. But love you all, man. We appreciate you, and we will see you Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central with another edition of Some Extra Sauce. But before we go, always got to leave you with these famous words. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.